One that immediately jumps to my mind would be to throw his hat down like a buzzsaw, like when he drags them through it, but instead he grabs their head and just slowly lowers their face first right into it, so they're looking at it like, oh god, that would be awesome. Welcome back to the Netherkast, episode 13. I'm Black Cyborg. I'm joined, as usual, by temporary username, Razor's Edge, and Shadowloo each week. How was your guys' weekend? Pretty event-filled? My night, personally, was great because I got to draw a new model in my art class. It was an old dude, but, you know, I'll take what I can get.
That's hot.
Yeah, he's in his like 40s and definitely just ball sack right there. He's doing some really weird poses too, so that was quite awkward. I'm real happy that the first nude model that I can say I drew with charcoal was a 40-year-old guy.
I sense some degree of cynicism in your voice.
Not at all.
That's lovely. I remember art school. There was a healthy mix of male and female.
One can only hope. Yeah, it's definitely awkward. I definitely instantly knew my maturity level was not to where it needed to be.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it wasn't while I was drawing him that I had an issue. It was like the pre-steps where we were watching a teacher draw him and he's just striking all these weird poses. One, he just like flexed his arms and just like had his hips thrusted out. So I was just like, okay, this is kind of awkward. I'm also the person that if I see anybody else like trying not to laugh or feeling like awkward, then I can't help but laugh.
You've got to remember though, you probably had the easier job. If you're struck by a raging erection while staring at this guy, you can hide that. You can hide that behind your sketch pad. If he's struck with a raging erection while looking at you, well, maybe he should see that another line of
Changes the entire session, doesn't it?
It does. Got to erase that shit and draw it again.
Yeah, that's
three people just
that'd
like
be rude.
scribbling over their pad.
But anyways, as people probably know by now, there was a lot to cover this week. So we actually won't be doing a retrospective. We're going to hold that off until the following week unless we get a shitload more stuff to cover, which hopefully we do because this is freaking awesome. I'm excited, but I just want to point one thing out. Go back and listen to episode 11. I threw a little clip at the beginning of our episode this week to remind people what my idea for Kung Lao's Fatality should be, and judge from that little tiny teaser that we saw, so it could definitely have more elements to it, but from the teaser part, the little clip that we did see, it's looking like the opponent gets their face lowered into the buzzsaw hat, which, you know, it's just a complete guess on my part. Actually, it wasn't even a guess. It was just what I would personally like to see. So needless to say, I'm a happy man because that looked freaking cool.
Yeah, you called it.
Does it make you feel like a big man? It should.
No.
Oh.
No. So.
All right, that's enough.
No, but seriously, what do you guys want to talk about? Because I am stumped.
Well, before we get into everything, I want to take like a 45 seconds to just give shout-outs to everyone at the KIT tournament. There were some really good players there. It was really good seeing... I'm going to give a special shout-out to Lord of the Fly, because he brought his Nightwolf to the tournament, and I missed watching Nightwolf so much. Like, God. And Costner's Reptile. Loved watching those two players play.
Kevin Costner plays... Oh my... Amazing.
That's fucking awesome.
He's the postman.
He's
that would be the most
he's Superman's dad who says, "No, don't save me. Let the tornado happen." I had to save this dog, but don't you save me.
Damn
What
it,
year
he was
was
in Waterworld.
Just like Reptile.
Maybe that's why his performance in Waterworld seems so fucking phoned in. He couldn't wait to get off set every day and just start going to play MK2 Reptile. That takes guts. That takes guts.
You know, it's funny. The first time I ever saw a Waterworld trailer on TV, I'd been waiting for months to see a Mortal Kombat trailer, and I was all like, I know they're making this movie. When are they going to show it? And there were a couple shots in there that I was like, is this it? There's like weird fantasy music. Is that Outworld? Oh, it's a Kevin Costner movie.
That's what happened with me in Pacific Rim. I thought it was an Evangelion trailer, and I was like, what the fuck is this? What?
Audio.
But yeah, some great play at KIT. Good shit, guys. Always.
Who'd you play as?
Oh, I wasn't there. I was in Tennessee. But I watched it all weekend, pretty much.
You weren't there. I bet if I didn't even ask you, you weren't going to tell people. You're going to pretend. You're one of those people that just pretend like they were a part of something.
Well, I mean,
that was good shit at KIT, guys. Wow, that was awesome. Good party that we threw afterwards. That was great.
I was an extra.
Sorry about the mess I left.
I love the
I'll get you guys next time.
Before you interrupted him.
So, I really don't know what to talk about because it's just completely lack of news. This drought is killing me.
Trailer or comic? Trailer or comic? Trailer or comic? Trailer or comic?
Trailer.
Yeah,
Let's start with the trailer.
The trailer.
Yeah, I kind of have to. I feel like we have to at this point. Between the two, I mean, the second chapter and third chapter of the comic isn't nearly as exciting as the trailer itself. So let's go in with the trailer. So,
alrighty.
How about that trailer? How about that Kitana?
Kitana, bitches.
I still think that was Kung Lao's hat in that picture, though. I think it was snuck in
All
there.
evidence to the contrary.
I should have taken that wager. I'm kicking myself now.
Man, I even had a good wager to make. I thought of last night before I went to sleep. After we were done talking, I was like, I thought of the perfect wager we can make. I said, I was gonna say until MKX comes out or until these characters get revealed, if I won the wager, meaning it was Kung Lao's hat, you would have to root for Cyrax getting into the game as your number one pick. Like, anytime anybody asks you, anytime we discuss on the podcast, you got to be like, Cyrax better make it into this game. And if you won, of course, I'd go with Smoke. Or Lee May. It would have been great. But
that's one reason why I backed out, because I'm like, I can't think of anything that could possibly make Cyborg fucking, I can't embarrass the guy.
It would have been.
But if I lose,
you guys were talking about a bet, and you were all like, "Whoever loses has to say something dumb on the podcast." I'm all like, "But Cyborg already does that usually as he's doing the intro."
I shit my own pants. I do.
And if I lose, I mean, I'm going to talk about dicks and shit. I don't know what Cyborg's going to make me talk about. Like, I don't want to fucking fall into that bear trap. So I was like, let's play it safe.
But yes, I thought of that wager, and then sure enough, when I wake up this morning, before I could even propose it to you, Kitana was already revealed. So I was like, screw it.
Dude, I woke up this morning with a text saying, "Have you seen the trailer yet?" And I'm like, "Oh, I guess it's out."
Yeah, I didn't expect it to come out that early. I expected, maybe around noon, which I would have been pissed off because I had to go to class around noon, and if I was in class, there was no way I would have been able to watch it. But it was out. Like, when I woke up and got to work, it just came out, and I was like, shit.
That happens to me every single time. I sit there till 8:45 a.m. and I'm like, F5, F5, F5. Nope. All right. I guess that they're going to be late again. And then I get into work, and it's been up for about roughly an hour. I don't know how that works. It must have happened the split second after I shut down the PC. It went up. God damn it.
Yeah, I'm blessed with a work where I can still text and whatnot, so I watched it several times while I was at work.
I can't do any of that shit.
You better believe that half of my goddamn day was just spent.
I also went and picked up the comic while I was on break, so
I did the same thing. Half hour commute there and back. Took my entire break. Seriously.
Nice. All right, well, let's just jump into this. So, starting off with the beginning of the trailer, we are pretty much introduced with Raiden and Kung Lao, and he asks, "Where have you been, Kung Lao?" Any thoughts on what he's referring to? Do you think this is a story mode cinematic, or do you think this is a intro, just like banter between the two of them in their intros?
I'd say intro, probably.
Yeah, it's a fight intro. But my question isn't where's Kung Lao been? It's where are they right now? Like, there's a crash space shuttle back there. It looks like it landed in the middle of the Shaolin Temple or something. Like, there's ruins and paper lanterns hanging, and it's Oriental. And then all of a sudden, the nose cone of a shuttle.
Yeah.
My first thought when we first saw that background and that shot yesterday was just looks like some sort of merger gone wrong. Like things just piled up on top of each other, lanterns, weird light in the background. I've got no idea what the hell that could possibly be. It's definitely out of this world.
I don't know. I'm still intrigued by that question. Maybe part of it has to do with Ed Boon specifically stating that, saying, "Oh yeah, Kung Lao, where have you been?" I don't know. I'm just kind of curious. That's just such a weird question to ask. I mean, the dude got his neck broken, and now you're like, where have
he's
you
been in hell, dude. You were there.
Yeah. Like, I don't
He's
know.
all
It's
playing
mostly
it off.
your fault, asshole.
I'm so intrigued by Kung Lao and Kitana's story and any other potential dead characters because we don't know how they've got they're back alive yet. We don't know if they're working with Quan Chi to any extent, like they're actually as revenants. We don't know.
Well,
we don't know much about it.
we do hear some dialogue, fight intro between Kitana and Quan Chi.
Right.
And
About
it sounds
whether
like
she found a way to kill him yet, and that could
She's like,
potentially
"I know
play into
many."
that.
yeah, they are
To me,
clearly
that-
enemies.
That tells me, like, maybe even when she was a revenant, she was still trying to axe off Quan Chi. Like, that's a hint of that, I think.
That's some kind of hell right there. I thought that they're actually all completely aware of what they're doing and can't stop themselves.
Yeah, and the idea has been presented on the forums that I remember, that the idea that they have to kill Quan Chi, or I guess, to set themselves free, or anybody does. That's a possibility. Maybe that's why he's asking that question. Like, he knows they have to kill him to let them go, and they know it too. But he's fucking Quan Chi, so apparently he's untouchable. I don't know.
Yeah, like he's being smug about the fact that he has power over them, something
Right.
like that. I can see that.
But yeah, dear God, Kung Lao looks amazing in this game. I love that outfit more and more every time I see it.
I said it right.
Now that
Said
I've
it right off the bat. Best look he's ever had.
Yeah,
It's one.
now that I've actually seen it in motion, which is where I left the episode 11 off when we were talking about him, and I couldn't for sure say it during the retrospective if that's my new favorite outfit. It certainly had that impression on me when I first saw it, but I wanted to see it in motion first, and now that I've seen it in motion, even when it has like the glowing symbols and whatnot, I just think it looks absolutely fantastic. So yes, I can for sure say that's my new favorite outfit for him.
Yeah, Kung Lao looks great. Great.
And he
Not
plays
sure how
great.
I feel about Kitana, though.
He fucking
I'm
plays
not
amazing.
saying it's bad, I'm undecided at the moment, whether I like it or not.
I think she looks absolutely fantastic. I'd almost go to... I'll throw it out there. I think this is my favorite outfit of hers as well.
I don't think there's much of a competition. I think all her other costumes were derivative, with maybe the exception of the Deadly Alliance costume, the primary.
Yeah, see, the Deadly Alliance is my favorite. When I think of Kitana, I think of like the tight bluish purple leather with like fishnet over the like certain areas of skin, like in a sort of elegant, fancy way.
Yeah, and I would agree it's a very good costume, but I kind of like... The one they have right now kind of seems like a mix between Ibuki from Street Fighter and Taki from Soul Calibur.
Yeah,
and it meshes
like
together really well.
It reminds me of like if you went into a Soul Calibur, create a character and tried to make an MK Ninja, but the options are like, this is as close as you could get.
In any case,
I made Smoke in Soul Calibur 3, FYI.
Yeah, it was a lot easier in 3. In like 4 and 5, they got really fancy.
In any case, the costume is classy and regal as all fuck. It makes her look really dignified. It's wonderful.
Love the hairstyle.
I have a hard time believing that she got this while in the Netherrealm or something. Because man, it's wonderful. It really is. It's not whorish or slutty in the least.
And they fixed every single issue that people had with her from the last game.
Yeah,
she looks elegant. She looks like a princess. She also looks very much like a fighter or an assassin. There's like elements of her armor that look a little bit samurai or at least Asian. I just wonder if she's not wearing a little too much jewelry. If her outfit isn't a little bit too busy, is I think my concern.
I've seen busier. This isn't like MK9 Scorpion primary.
Oh god.
Yeah, she doesn't have cancer on her clothing.
This is just enough to actually work functionally. And I'm really loving that hair. The hair is wonderful.
Yeah,
so
like
many
I
people
said,
had so many problems with her damn hair. And
they fixed every single issue that, the biggest issues that people had with her design last time, the hair, the heels, and the boob physics, which go over many of the women. They fixed every single one of those.
And the face. We need
to see her unmasked before we can say they fixed the face.
Agreed. People are already calling it, but I'm like, we don't know yet. Because her face looked fine in her primary.
Yeah, the problem with her face was the nose and lips.
Right.
And the chin.
The very parts we can't see normally.
Right.
Do we have a problem with Cassie's nose or lips? I know that
I think Cassie
her
looks
head structure
fine. It's just that her body from the neck down has weird proportions.
That's the problem. But like
her legs are too short, her torso's too long, and some stuff like that.
I think that they just showed her off while she was still in kind of a weird development stage. Like I said before, they shot off on her a little bit too quickly. But just if you have to go by Cassie's nose and lips, then I wouldn't worry too much about Kitana because her proportions are pretty good.
Yeah, Cassie's face looks good.
But yeah.
I just feel like that not only does Kitana not look like a whore as much, but she looks sexier with more clothing.
Oh yeah.
Now that there's more around her, it
biggest...
emphasizes the skin. So
that's what I loved about Ashra and Frost's main attires. They weren't overly sexified like that, which I've always been one that, I'm not somebody that makes it seem like it ruins the game or anything like that, but it was something that really bothered me in MK9 that every woman had heels. It just didn't make any sense. I could care less. Someone like Melina completely makes sense, sure. But someone like Sonya or Kitana, I just didn't see it as much. And
Sonya should definitely be in combat boots.
Right.
See, the thing for me is it's always about character first.
Exactly.
And I can see Kitana wearing heels because there's something elegant about them.
Yeah, no, it's not a logistic.
The problem with Kitana for me is that both of her costumes looked like a Saudi Arabian harem dancer type of person. She looked like a slave. And that almost makes sense for her alternate, given when she wears it in story. The problem is, if you pay attention to MK9 story mode, she changes her clothes in the middle of being captured, like someone forced her to wear them, like Shiva stripped her down and put a new outfit on her, which is just weird. And then she keeps wearing that costume well into MK3 after she's been free for a long time. So it's like, there's something very odd going on with her wardrobe.
Well, I think it was the 2 costume system. Everyone has to have one alternate, and they never deviated from that.
It better, and
I never really ran too much into the costumes in the story mode. Didn't see much of a point to it.
I hope we get more. I think we will get more.
See, I used to give Kitana a couple passes in a few games for looking weird. It was she's always dressed kind of skimpy. It doesn't bother me that much, but no, looking back on it now, yeah, the MK9 one really did have some problems. It was Sonya. Sonya was my biggest problem with the heels and the thong 3 inches above the belt line, and but it's such a good thing to see that they've heard our feedback and they're coming around. They're addressing these problems. And I used to really say to myself that compared to most fighting franchises, MK wasn't all that bad in terms of being ridiculously over fan servicey. But here we are sitting here right now, and we're talking about, let's see, Pros does not look like a whore.
Yeah. MK9 went full dead or alive.
Pretty much. And I would have been more forgiving of the over-sexualization if it didn't look bad. If Sonya was in high heels and had D cups, I would have been well, at least the design is well rendered, but it wasn't fucking well rendered. It looked horrible. It looked so awful to me.
They have it would seem, gotten a lot better at anatomy. I will reserve final judgment until I see Liu Kang's shoulders, because that was a big problem in MK9.
Well, anatomy and just animations, like Kitana's animations look so much smoother. They looked really stiff in MK9.
Yeah,
Her forward 2-1 looked unbelievably stiff. It looked like it was in slow motion. Like, it looks much better in this game.
Yeah, their models in general, I mean, I harken back to even Quan Chi's model when it was first revealed. Just the fact that he was more like kind of slender and just kind of lanky and whatnot. It's a different type of, when everybody's usually this big muscle frame, you know, jacked to the gills type of frame. It was nice to see some variation, and I think that's just continued in this game, is that their main issues from the last one model wise, we haven't really seen spark up, at least not to the near degree it was as bad in MK9, but just in this game thus far, I mean, even taking other like female attires with Cassie and Farah and Devora, none of them look like outright whores either. It's all, I don't know, it just seems like they put, and I think, wasn't that rumored that I don't know if it was rumored or just outright they said it, that they just over-sexified, they went too far in MK9.
They said there was an internal
debate. The
debate.
costumes were too over the top, and they were like pulling it back.
Right, and it's definitely showing. And the only one that I feel like might break that mold is Melina, but I think we're all in agreement that Melina is the one character that makes the most sense to do that.
Yeah, it would fit her personality.
Because she's
to show off a lot of skin, because
over, you know, trying to
there's
make up for
multiple
the mouth.
angles to look at it. Either she's just like a crazy seductress, or she's insecure about her face and wants you to look down at her tits instead. You know,
right?
Either way works.
The word crazy is definitely in there.
But yes, the other outfits have been more reserved, and that's something like I was trying to say before, is that's one of my favorite parts about Ashura, other than I like her story and her moves, and just her whole look is different from a lot of the other females. So yeah, I mean,
I agree that her design is good. The difference between Ashura and Kitana, though, is Kitana manages to still maintain her sex appeal. I don't think Ashura had any sex appeal.
But that's
okay though.
Yeah,
That's cool.
That was my point.
I was
It's good for variety.
They got the best of both worlds with Kitana. I think they found that really nice balance.
Right. Because Ashura really had that look of kind of old-timey female, where she was over-covered, and that's fine. That's good for variety, like we were talking about. But yeah, she definitely, with that giant hat and just like completely covered head to toe, it was nice for variety's sake, like that.
Dignified.
Yeah. But so what about that fatality that Kitana did? Thoughts on that?
Quick, brutal, decisive. I really, really liked it.
But do you like it more than Ferretor's fatality?
Absolutely not.
Well, I mean,
I'm glad you broke it down and just accepted it now.
This has been a long time coming.
I'm just gonna let this happen now. Just keep on going with it.
It's really good though. I love the fatality.
No, seriously, it's got such a mean ending, just jamming the fence down through your head in two places, and it all takes place in the space of what, 10 seconds?
Not
it's
even
a
that.
finishing move. It's quick.
Yeah, it's very.
It's wonderful.
It's practical. She would actually do that. Like in battle, if you're trying to finish someone off and disable them, that's what you would do. It's brilliant.
It seems almost angry and spiteful the way she does it, though, to like chop off a guy's hands and then jump on him to like get that close and personal, look him in the eyes, and then chop his head in 3 pieces.
I can at least see a reason for like chopping their hands off, though. That's to prevent you from, like, her predator point from just shoving her off of them. It actually makes sense. It's not like Scorpion and MKD where it's like doo-doo-doo, ripping off your leg, doo-doo, ripping off
when you
your
jump
arm.
on the chest, it disables their legs. They can't kick you anymore. So there's a practicality to it.
It's a practical finishing move, and that's why I think I'm in love with it.
Plus, she doesn't want them to cop a feel while she's on top of them, cutting their head off.
No, that's true.
I don't know. I just wonder if it says something about her personality, the way she delivers it. Like she's more bitter and damaged now.
I don't think that anyone's going to come out of like Netherrealm Wraith status a little bit uncheap.
Yeah.
It's got to have affected each and every single one of them to some point.
Well, that's the old Kitana to me anyway. Kitana was always supposed to be a little bit damaged, you know? She worked for Khan for
see,
how
like,
many
I
thousands
missed
of years?
this from MK2. Like, MK9, the finisher should have been... Well, let me say this. I like this finisher. If she has two that use her fans, I'll be disappointed. I want to see the Kiss of Death come back, or something with some kind of variety.
I don't know if I want to see the Kiss of Death return.
You know what,
I
man?
don't really know if I get that fatality.
Has she ever actually used, like, her fan's ability to lift you up during a fatality? Because I am sitting here and I'm really more than willing to see a fatality where she just lifts you up and, like, tosses a fan in some point or whatever, like, embeds it into the ground, blades up, and lets you fall head first on it or something. I don't feel like they've made the most of her arsenal.
I feel like, in a way, like, if they have ideas for Ermac and Fujin, they might go that direction, though.
Has the Kiss of Death for Kitana ever been one where they didn't, like, get all comically large and then blow up? Because I know Sonya had
that.
In UMK3, she stretched them out.
Okay, because
Yeah, like, they would stretch
taller.
taller until they explode instead of getting fat.
yeah,
But,
Well, Deadly Alliance, it was the worst. They got so fucking fat. I'm like, I can't watch this.
because Sonya's was the only one that actually like made sense, like in that regard that it actually came across well. It wasn't comedic. She blew the kiss or the dust in their eyes or their mouth or whatever the hell it was, and then they started throwing up, and then it eventually turned to blood, and then she like stomped their head in or something.
Well, for Sonya, I always liked the original one. Like, I've sort of complained before that her powers, if she has any powers, have never been explained. But, like, I feel like her using a fireball, and then in a later game she gets a bite kick, sort of lends to the idea that she's being trained during the tournament by Raiden and Liu. And I would have, liked to see, some sort of origin for her along those lines.
I've always kind of taken her Kisses of Death as being technology-based, pretty much. And I'll say this for MK Annihilation, I did like their, like, take on it being dust that they later on reused in MKDA. But I mean, I figured it's all variations on, like, that sonic ring energy that she uses, except for the original fire one, I guess. I don't know, maybe chemicals. I was actually a pretty big fan of when she did an MK3 and they were just kind of surrounded by this pink bubble and they kind of imploded. It was one of the better ones from that game, I thought.
Yeah, I agree.
That was always the weirdest
fatality.
one to me.
Yeah, that's
Weird
kind of why I like it, though. That's kind of why I'm into it,
Yeah.
Well, Razor, curiosity, if you had to make a case for the Kiss of Death fatality, what would you say?
Give her Tanya's.
Well, that was faster than I thought.
Yeah, no, that's the only one that doesn't look silly.
Despite the fact that they're kind of floating in midair while it happens.
Well, I mean, they could fall to the ground instead, but I love the way that all their joints just randomly turn backwards. It's the most painful thing I can possibly think of.
What the fuck?
But why does that happen when Kitana kisses somebody in that certain way? I don't understand the logic behind it.
She shops at the Outworld Market, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the Outworld Market. 25 different types of lethal lipstick for the special lady in your life.
But some of that pus fruit.
Well, here's yes, pus fruit. She ate a pus fruit, and that's the power it gives you. No, what I was thinking is, like, if you think about what female ninjas were in real world ancient Japan, they posed as like courtesans and like prostitutes to get close to their targets and kill them. So it kind of makes sense to me that the Outworld ninja girls would have some sort of assassination technique that involved getting close enough to kiss a guy. And the effect it causes, I just chalk up to magic. Everybody in Outworld has magic, apparently.
Well, that's my biggest problem with it. I don't like seeing people get fat and explode. Like, I really hated it in MK9 with Rain's fatality.
I get that. That's why I say do Tanya's version, but...
Yeah, well, no, which I agree with, I guess. But I guess they're going for the Big Trouble Little China reference, where...
I don't know, maybe something like their... like, the kiss could be some kind of poison that they, I don't know...
Makes
turn
your
a
muscles
weird color
contort
before they explode, or start throwing up like they did in Sonya's Deadly Alliance one, or... There's something creative you could do there. They don't have to swell up like a balloon. I just want to see her magically kiss someone, and that kills them somehow.
Well, if they go into like a seizure and they start contorting, their back breaks, I could see something like that being cool. That I could get on board with.
You know what? Now that we're talking about it, we haven't seen an explosion fatality in MK10, have we? Oh,
Not
I'm
yet.
looking forward to that. That's going to look disgusting.
They need to save it for the right character. I hope
Yeah.
when we see it, it's done perfectly.
And,
I hope we
and
see
in
it
defense
done
of
10
fatalities that
times.
make you swell real fat, I will say I actually liked Reigns from MK9.
I couldn't stand
Yeah,
it. I
yeah,
hate
yeah,
that
yeah.
shit. Oh, it hurts to watch so bad. I like the other one. I like the water sword. Thought it had nice, little bow down before me kind of thing going.
It was all right too. I just, sometimes I like a little silly in my finishers. Not too
Yeah.
silly, not MK3 silly, like Giant Jacks, but Rain blowing you up like a balloon with water is okay by me.
So what'd you guys think of the Kung Lao fatality, even though we barely saw it?
What kind of a fucking monk are you? My God.
It's like we said before. He always has
Seriously.
the most psychopathic methods of killing people come from this supposed pacifist.
So how
Yeah,
do
he
you
has
think
a-
it all
You
plays
see, like-
out?
Look at stills from this thing. I almost feel sorry for Quan Chi. He is in a bad place right there. Look at the fucking fear in his face. He's closing his eyes shut. He doesn't want to acknowledge what's about to happen to him.
You know what I'm
Oh,
afraid of, though? I'm
They're
afraid
gonna
it's not...
overextend it.
Yeah, I'm afraid they're going to play it out kind of like how Quan Chi's went, where the tease was so good because it was brutal in its execution and it was cringeworthy just thinking about it happening. But then when we saw the full version, he ends up levitating the person up and down until they're completely split in half. I'm so worried that's something like that's going to happen here, where he slowly lowers their face in and then all of a sudden he drags their torso completely through it, cutting them in half again. It's just please don't do that. Just leave their head completely cut in half vertically.
God, if there ever was a single fatality that we've seen so far for a returning character as a case for the Netherrealm having changed them, that's the goddamn one right here. So, I picked up a few new tricks in the Netherrealm. Oh God,
say
stop,
that,
he's dead already.
But he used to do it to their junk first. This is really not different for him.
Oh God, you terrible person from WoW.
Yeah, but this is more slower and this is more personal, I feel
Yeah,
than what that
personal's a good
was.
word.
This has a very put the lotion in the basket kind of feel to it. So I kind of like this one better just because, yeah.
Is it safe?
It puts the hat on its head. Get it?
Is
The
it
hat.
safe?
It's very safe. Oh, it's not safe at all. It's not safe. It really isn't. Not around.
So any
WoW.
thoughts on Kung Lao's gameplay itself? I mean, I noticed he had that really awesome fast punch, and he also had Liu Kang's cartwheel kick, or whatever that's called.
Yeah, people are calling it the Ip Man punch, which I think is very
I love
fitting.
that punch.
I am.
Just-
thinking
I do
that's-
too.
Yeah, it's
Machine
beautiful.
gun. Ra-da-da-da-da-da-da.
I did a couple of JoJo's references with a guy at work to that GIF. It was really wonderful. I think it's a throw. It
Yeah, it
really
looks
feels
like
like
it
one of
could
those
be, too.
things. Yeah.
Any thoughts on the fact that he has Liu Kang's cartwheel kick? Does that mean anything?
Wouldn't be the first time he's taken a move in honor of a fallen friend. Remember the flying kick in Deadly Alliance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that the whirlwind kick from Deadly Alliance was going to be in MK9, but they left it on the cutting room floor. And
That's
I wonder if
shit.
that's the one instance ever during the reboot they realized, oh wait, he's not supposed to do this yet. It doesn't make story sense. Yeah, but do we want to talk about the fact that there's at least 3 new stages in here?
Yeah, well, another
Yes.
snow one, and I'm really happy about that because it looked fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
It looks sort of like Jago's temple from the new KI, except there's they're fighting out in the front yard and there's snow falling and there's coffins standing up.
Coffins with what look like little wheels on the front, or I don't know what the hell that is. Looks like a ship's steering mast. Something to be unlocked, perhaps. Maybe this is what the crypt's gonna look like. Full of these things.
It would be a nice change of pace to be able to fight in the crypt for once.
That'd be cool.
Because it's always just been this extra thing. There's never been a crypt arena.
Yeah.
Man, I don't want to overhype myself up or anything, but 2 snow stages couple stages full of like destroyed terrain, crashed shuttle, ruins everywhere. My God, am I ever hoping that MK10 is in part set in a post-apocalyptic Earth. Oh man. I know it's not going to be, but what if? What if?
I just love me the snow stages.
I would be down for a post-apocalypse just so I could go, see, look what Raiden did. Again.
I love the snow.
The fact
This
that
didn't
there were
happen in the Armageddon timeline.
2 snow stages is just unprecedented. I feel like there almost has to be a reason for that.
Does it look like the sky? Does it look like... I'm looking at Devora's picture right now. Is Devora maybe possibly at the Sky Temple? Or is that a stage we've already seen? I'm just not getting the whole picture.
It does look familiar, doesn't it? That architecture is very, very familiar. It's very Sky Temple-ish.
I would love to see that back.
Is there a dude behind her? Is that Quan Chi? What is that? What's going on over there? Can't tell. Ah, it's a decoration. Never mind. Is it a possible Sky Temple? I don't recall seeing that in, like... If anything, out of the stages that we've seen so far, I'd call maybe the jungle? I don't know, but...
Maybe.
No, it's not right. It's not right.
Well, the lighting's not right. That's why I didn't immediately go to the jungle, but...
It might be this very same second snow stage. Actually, I think that it is. The building in the background next to the coffins looks kind of similar to what might be the same here, architecturally speaking. Just trying to look for familiar landmarks. God even knows what the hell this place is.
How about that fucking Shokan Goro?
Oh, Goro looks amazing.
He does look amazing.
Goro lives. I think that's my favorite part of it. Goro lives.
Yeah,
just fucking
they
tossing that out
something
there.
that they said in MK1.
So awesome. He looks more than a little bit movie inspired. A little bit more, every time I
love
see
that
him.
He's cracking his knuckles as he walks out of the shadow.
Yeah.
I
especially love they remembered his eyes are supposed to be red.
I want gameplay for this guy so bad.
This is not the yellow-eyed, goofy bucktooth Goro from the last game.
He looks intimidating as fuck.
Fixing them problems.
Just seeing his body move is just like insane. It just looks like somebody that's really going to devastate the crap out of somebody.
Someone on that art team
really well animated, and like the
Seriously.
texture of his skin, the scaling it, like he looks like Goro should look.
Between Kung Lao, Kitana, Goro now, someone on that art team needs a massive raise. And I know that logically Goro's presence to me after a game that had both Kintaro and Goro, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to see Kintaro this time through. But holy shit, do I ever want to see Kintaro as developed by these guys in the background as a cameo or something. Please give me that.
See, that's how I feel about
nice.
Cyrax at this point.
Kintaro's one of the characters who didn't die, which for some reason seems to mean he's less likely to be on this roster.
Yeah, that does seem like it's getting that way, doesn't it? That's how I feel about like Cyrax and certain other characters from MK9, Ermac, and what have you. It's like the ones that didn't die almost are gonna sit this one out. It's just like, jeez.
I'm almost wondering if the voice actors are just trolling at this point. Like they're in on it with Ed Boon, and they're just trying to generate that hype. Maybe
it's possible. I mean, I don't know.
You think the guys who played Sector and Cyrax just straight up lied?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they have. Do they not have like non-disclosure agreements?
Well, if they had a
sign?
non-disclosure,
Well, they absolutely have to.
They'd basically just like not answer the question at all, or be like, "I can't talk about it," or something.
Right,
like that.
but you never know. Like you said, they could be joining Boon's antics.
It feels like, well, I don't know. It just seems like I haven't been contacted is not the answer you'd get from someone who was under an NDA.
Right. I don't know.
It's a very somber response for sure.
I really hope to see Cyrax, not just because he's my favorite character. I hope to see Reptile and Ermac for the same exact reason. And I'm sure you guys would share the sentiment with like Smoke or whatever, what have you, is that the designs in this game for almost every single character have been absolutely top-notch, some of the best we've seen in the series. There hasn't been one design thus far that's been like a stinker to me where I'm like, oh god, that just looks awful, I can't believe that. That's the worst in the series. Like, everyone has looked really good, from gameplay to appearance. It just seems like they're doing like MK9 I thought was pretty impressive in a lot of ways compared to the other 3D era games, of course. So I feel like this one's just a whole head and shoulders above MK9. It's just really, really great quality, and I'm going to hate if some of the characters that I really love and really want to see their designs in this game, much like you, Shadaloo, with Kentaro, you just want to see him designed by this team in this game with this quality put on him. That's how I feel about like Cyrax. Like, even if Cyrax dies in story mode, that's going to suck. You know, he is my favorite character. But at the same time, I just want to see him in this game so I can see a new version of him with this amount of quality on his gameplay and his appearance. I just think that would look absolutely phenomenal. Same with like Reptile and Ermac, etc.
I think you will, though. I think at the worst case scenario, Cyrax is going to be DLC. I don't think there's any way he's not going to be in this game.
I hope so.
I'm gonna
the models in this game look really good.
Just gonna throw in going back to that second snow stage and the structure behind Devora that we thought might have been Sky Temple. It is the same stage. I'm looking at that some of that footage with Devora and Tora right now, and yeah, you can clearly see it's the same stage. You can see the artwork, and that's how the roofs look. And there's a statue of someone there who really kind of looks like Argus.
Yeah, I saw people debating whether it's Argus or Jared or people threw out Fujin and whatnot. I don't think it looks like Fujin, but
that's not.
It definitely looks like
the statue looks like it has a beard. So.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Argus more than any of them.
So yeah, just that. And yeah, it would be a damned waste if we didn't see certain characters under this engine designed by this team. God damn, do I want to see Smoke by these people. Everyone.
And
if only for the design, it would make it so worth it.
Yeah, and as much as I want to see, a few more new characters, I think with the amount of attention to detail in the best costumes we've seen for some of these characters, I really like Quan Chi's outfit. I love Kung Lao's and Kitana's. It's like I said, we're seeing some of the best we've seen. Scorpion looks absolutely fantastic, and he's looked the best in this game than he has in years, maybe dating back to like Deadly Alliance or something. But point being, it just feels like it would be such a shame at this point, because even especially with the characters that are alive, like if they don't bring them back, I really want to see them. I really want to see their designs in this game, because I have not been disappointed yet with a returning character's looks or gameplay.
I might be the only one who's not blown away by Goro. I think he looks good, but when I saw Kitana, I'm like, oh my god, Kitana looks so amazing. When I saw Goro, I was like, oh my god, Goro looks so Goro, and I'm just like,
well, yeah, there's only so much you can do with Goro. I agree.
I already like baseline Goro. I just want him to look as good as he can without too much extra crap on him. I don't want to see a shoulder pad like he had in MK9.
Kind of really amazed to see that, because it's like you said, it's a baseline design, and how do you mess that up? And say that they messed him up, but the shoulder pad was unnecessary.
See, with Goro, design does matter, like what he's wearing, but for me, Goro is all about the presentation. If they make him look menacing, like he's if you met him in an alleyway, other than the fact that he has 4 arms and he's fucking muscular as shit, if you met him in an alleyway, he would legitimately make you shit your pants. That is what this Goro. This is the most menacing and intimidating Goro. The important thing with him is that he looks
like a scary monster. There has to be a realistic element that you can believe this guy is a frightening creature.
Right.
Whereas he's looked like a cartoon character in the past several games.
I'm going to submit this too. The thing that really makes Goro work for a lot of people is, as we've said, it's the movie. And it's a combination, I believe, of both his appearance and his character and mannerisms. And it really does not help his character over the past couple games that he's made this heel turn, or that he's just treated as a thug. I mean, it's a problem he's had going back to Shaolin monks. Goro's at his best in all forms of media when he seems civilized, dignified, quiet, a little bit regal, and yet is capable of ripping you limb from fucking limb. So assuming Goro gets some halfway decent dialogue and mannerisms and character in this game, for however scenes he's in, I can forgive the past.
Oh yeah.
Right now, looking the way he does, if they just make him seem like, I don't want to say, I mean, movie Goro as much as possible with that kind of character, all's forgiven.
Oh yeah, that would be perfect if he has that personality with him. That's the thing though, is even comparing this Goro just from what we've seen, it's the animation. Like I said, it's all about his presentation. Just that little him walking up from the shadows, which looks like his character walking or whatever, and him walking up from the shadows, he looks like he could just fuck some shit up. And with MK9 Goro, you just don't get that intimidation factor. Yeah, he's a big presence, but there's a difference between just someone that's, big and tall and obviously a monster, and this Goro that we just saw in that trailer. I feel like there's a night and day difference between the two, and this Goro looks absolutely terrifying.
There's something very bestial about it.
Yeah,
it's a combination of elements. Like I said, MK9, first of all, he had like that goofy bucktooth face. Like his whole CGI model looks kind of cartoon character-esque. Like seems not very detailed, or like there's something wrong with like the skin texture. It too smooth, too yellow, kind of Simpsons-y almost.
Yeah. Whereas
and
1080p on, the current gen consoles definitely allows them to do some...
this rocky, scaly, brown texture to his skin really works well for him. And
those scales, I feel like they've been kind of MIA for a long time. If they were an MK9, I didn't notice them.
And his anatomy looks a ton better. Like, the way his arms were animated in his torso, it all just looks so fluid. I don't know, it just looked really fucking good.
Yeah. And like, there's the way that story mode used him. Like, they don't even mention Goro's name during the tournament until it's time for Liu to fight him. Like, how shitty is that compared to, like, the movie or even the original comic book where he's there as Shang gives, like, the opening speech? Like, the whole thing in MK1 and in the movie was all like, here's Prince Goro, you'll have to fight this guy if you make it to the end. And the whole tournament is like, there's this sense of dread, like, even if I'm winning, I've got to face that thing.
Happened in
the headline talk about him until they need him to get his ass kicked.
Happened in the Jeff Roven MK novel, too. People just went to that tournament and they saw Goro and they knew they were going to die. And in that novel, you had Kung Lao, like, meditating for, like, a good 2, like, chapters going... Is this really the end? Is this what's going to happen to me? And yes, it was.
Yeah, but like MK9, it's just all like, oops, we forgot. Goro's in this too. Quick. Liu Kang has to fight him. And it's like, they put that... It looks like there's a trap door in the courtyard with Goro's logo on it. But, like, you think, oh, when it's time for him to fight Goro, that thing's going to open up and he's going to fall into Goro's lair. Nope, teleported.
Yeah.
And every time after he gets beat that he shows up, he's not doing anything important. He's just, like, guarding something. He's like tall Baraka now. He's just there to, like, lose. Like, he loses to Kung Lao, and Kung Lao isn't even like, yay, I finally avenged my ancestor. He doesn't say a word about it. Like, he's forgotten that Goro's important. And then Sub-Zero as a robot beats Goro and Kentaro at the same time, and it's like, no big deal.
That's a bit harsh. That's a bit harsh, Razor. Baraka wins sometimes. He's a tall reptile. He's a tall reptile.
When does Baraka win?
Hasn't he had a few victories? I'm pretty sure.
Well, he did help slaughter most of the Shaolin Temple, right?
Yeah, that's
there you
true.
go. He's got that.
That's the one
he's
thing.
Gone
okay,
out unsuccessful.
Goro's more like tall reptile.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying. Baraka's had some successful missions. He's in a position because he's feared. No one knows
he's
why
in that
Reptile
position because he
around.
has sex with the princess.
I don't want to talk
fight,
about.
Though he's had some success in Armageddon. He had that whole crouching tiger thing with Kung Lao in the intro. That was pretty tight.
Yeah. That's another thing that bums me out of about 9. Like in MK2 and MK Gold sort of hinted at it. There's supposed to be like this rivalry between Kung Lao and Baraka.
Oh yeah.
Ever since the Shaolin Temple massacre, he wants revenge, and that's never mentioned in 9.
Shaolin Monks even kind of did a decent job of it. You know, you had that big kind of epic fight between Baraka and I I want to say like he jumped out of a pit or something because he thought he fell off the ledge. It's been years.
You're fighting in a room where there's this like big open pit, and like at one point you knock him in, and then he like jumps out and tries to kick you, and there's sort of like some feinting going on, and then like you have to impale him with 2 swords that attract souls to them, and the souls kill him.
I forgot about that.
You've got to give the MK9 lip service for this, though. For all that they never expounded upon that Kung Lao supposed Baraka rivalry, which we all would have loved to see. One of the first shots when they're recapping Armageddon, what happens? You see Baraka's corpse with Kung Lao's hat buried in his head.
That's true.
So they settled it. Kung Lao wins.
It's always sort of disappointed me that Baraka didn't keep the MK4 staples when he came back in Deception.
I loved
Without
those
any
things.
explanation. Was there any reasoning given for that?
The Deadly Alliance crypt has a picture of him, I think, or maybe it was the Deception crypt, I forget which, from Gold, and it's like people speculate that he was cut in half by Kung Lao's hat or something like that. And it's not confirmation, but it's the closest we ever got.
I feel like they were really trying to slowly downplay the amount of deaths that had actually happened in the story up to that point in D8.
It doesn't have to be a death. Like, the thing is, Baraka's working for Quan Chi in MK4, so he could have been saved right before he died.
That's the way I figured it.
Back, and the staples are just to hold the wound closed.
You know that, and I know that. They just figure, I guess, that Lehman would stop taking MK quite so, quote-unquote, seriously if there were all these, quote-unquote, supposed deaths.
Yeah.
That is a hell of a wound to heal, though. I mean...
Yeah, well, he healed Shao Kahn from getting his heart punched out.
Yeah.
I'm going to say,
maybe rationalize that, saying, oh, Shao Kahn's from a... He's of a divine nature, you know. He's descended from deities.
Yeah.
Baraka, though, I mean, if his brain's split in half, that's a hell of a procedure.
Well, I figure... If you get to him fast enough, who's to say Tarkatans don't have Wolverine's healing factor when they already have Wolverine's blades?
Yeah,
okay.
That's true. That's a good point.
Kano fell how many stories into a parked car before Motaro probably found him and... Come on, Motaro's not gentle. He probably dragged him back to Shao Kahn, twitching all the way. If Kano can survive life on... So do I. I really do.
Kind of picturing Kano riding Motaro on the back.
But... Yeah. Kano just... A bloody mess slumped over the back of Motaro as he runs through the streets.
Not even. Motaro probably wrapped his tail around his ankle and dragged him. This is MK, people. All the X-rays are completely canonical. These things happen.
I want to see somebody ride Motaro. Is that too much to ask?
Ask Melina.
You'll get that, but you'll get the Armageddon version, so it'll just have to be a piggyback ride.
Damn you, Boon!
All right,
Did we cover the ridiculousness of the brief Kung Lao X-ray shot that we saw? Hat, head, skull, eye socket. That looks like it's going to be wonderful.
I like it, but I don't like it for the fact that I feel like when you have an X-ray like that, it kind of takes away from the fatality itself. Like
it's another X-ray that should kill you, like being stabbed all the way through the head in Baraka and Kitana's in MK9.
Yeah, it's not even just. I mean, that's a big part of it, obviously, but I mean, it's his fatality. I mean, he's literally putting his hat right into the person's brain, and his fatality is lowering their face into the hat. So it's, I don't know. I feel like in that regard, it's just too close. I don't know. I mean, I also realize that a lot of the special moves should kill you as well. I mean, one of Kung Lao's special moves is his literally throwing his hat into your chest. And it's just spinning and, digging in. But I don't know. I just... X-rays like that are just kind of...
Misses the vital organs. It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah. But yeah, last part about the trailer I wanted to mention is, man, that music was fucking awesome.
Oh, this was the first time I've really liked the music for this game that we've heard so far.
This is what we should have gotten for the trailer, in my opinion. Like the initial Mortal Kombat trailer.
It's been really tough to hear, but
wait.
every so often.
You don't like Wiz Khalifa?
No, I don't like rap in Mortal Kombat at all.
MK has had a shit reputation when it comes to actual songs by artists in the game. Wiz Khalifa, Adema, give me a god.
I kind of liked Immortal.
Yeah, I didn't mind Adema so much because it's at least something that fits. Well, no, I understand that.
It doesn't hold up, I'll grant, but
I still kind of like it, actually. It's the Disturbed song I didn't like. That's the one that really rubbed me the wrong way.
Well, the problem, my thing is, at least Disturbed, Edema, those are bands that they sing the hardcore music that you could at least...
Sorry.
Shadaloo disagrees with the term hardcore.
I don't know. I don't fucking listen to either of the bands, so I'm just throwing out a term.
Should.
No, I'm not going to.
Maybe you should.
I'm not going to.
Here's my problem when it comes to using real music in Mortal Kombat. And it's like, why don't they get the rights to fucking Techno Syndrome or do something with it?
Because
why are they
it
releasing...
embarrassing.
If you're going to release an album like when MK9 came out, put like a cover of Chinese Ninja Warrior on there. You already have music that people associate with this franchise.
Also a good song. I don't mind that song
In the
at all.
game, when I fight Goro, I want the Goro versus Artlene track from the movie to play.
Yeah, that was a good one.
When I listened to songs inspired by the Warriors, that was my first realization that I was old and I didn't get what the kids are into these days. Can you honestly expect the current gaming audience to really get down with Chinese Ninja Warrior? I mean, I can listen to it unironically on the bus like I did 5 hours ago on the way home. But people are going to laugh at that today.
That anybody who buys a Mortal Kombat album is not looking for popular music and is not hip and with it anyway.
Right. See,
it's a Mortal
I just don't
Kombat
think...
album.
I honestly just don't think. Why are they going with rap? I understand that there is a big crowd for that these days, but
why did they go with dubstep?
It's not Def Jam.
Fucking Skrillex.
It's not Def Jam. There's no in normal that's like putting rap with Street Fighter. It just does not fit, and especially with Mortal Kombat, there's nothing about Mortal Kombat that I see being related to rap. When I think Mortal Kombat, like most people, I think techno, obviously because of the movie, or I think Oriental type of music like that in the past games. And that's what I really loved about this one. It was almost like a mix between techno with like a little bit of kind of like dubsteppy vibe to it, which I'm not big on that, but I thought it worked here. But that's because it had a big Oriental like theme to it, and it worked so perfectly for this.
I think classical Oriental mixed with industrial. One of these days when we actually do talk about MK music really in depth, I'm going to go on a tangent about how the MK1 movie soundtrack, it basically launched me on the path of being into all the bands that I am now. Wonderful, wonderful piece of work. Wonderful combination.
Yeah, industrial, techno, fucking Oriental music is where they should be. That is what Mortal Kombat is rooted in. At least that's what it was originally. It was supposed to be Oriental, very Asian themed with a lot of the designs, the stages, the theme of the whole thing. Why they got away from that type of music, I have no idea. I think there's no excuse of, well, that old music wouldn't hold up to these days. Well, no, that's why you modernize it. You don't go with you don't need to go with Skrillex or Wiz Khalifa to have something that fits MK. I don't know.
That's an age-old problem, though, because Mortal Kombat has never carried over their music, unfortunately, which I think is a huge problem. I wish they would adopt the MK movie theme, just so Mortal Kombat could have a theme. There's no musical staple
Fighter,
of the
you get
series.
Guile's theme and Ryu's theme and Ken's theme in every game, and that's why they caught on and are so popular. I also think maybe there's an argument to be made. Some certain tracks from different games are a lot more catchy than a Mortal Kombat arena track usually is. But there are a lot of like good tracks in MK1, 2, 3, even 4, even like the Falling Cliffs from Deception.
Yeah, I like that one too.
This is a bit of an oversimplification, but I just feel like, today's Skrillex and today's dubstep, MK has always tried to stick with current music trends. In 1995, it was like techno house music. A couple of years later, 2 MK soundtracks. Actually, 3 if you count More Kombat. It's industrial and rock. And now cut to now, what's popular today? It's Skrillex. For some reason.
I think the mistake they're making with that, though, is, and maybe it was just something they were lucky to stumble upon in the 90s, that that it hasn't even occurred to them now. The music they were using then sounds good dubbed over a fight scene. Rap and dubstep don't really go with a fight scene.
Right.
Third Strike fans would really disagree with you on that one.
Well, they can go fuck themselves.
It depends on
Look, I'm a huge fan of like the Double Impact and original Street Fighter 3 soundtracks, but I'm not going to sit here and go that Third Strike's soundtrack was crap. It actually worked surprisingly well. You can associate like fights to whatever you want as long as the atmosphere behind the music is right. And I just never really thought that it was right for a demo or Skrillex or anything. But somehow, some way, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike pulled it off. And Guilty Gear's been doing the heavy metal rock thing for as long as I can remember.
Anyways, we should probably
Yeah,
cut it off here because we are going to do a full episode. But yes, this music was fucking awesome, and damn did that make that trailer even better. I listened to the trailer, I watched the trailer several times, but that, as soon as Raiden comes down with that initial booming start to the track, it was just so good from that point on. And then it goes through so many awesome steps along the way, and then when Goro comes back comes on the screen, just so perfect. I hope something like that needs to be in the game as you are fighting, because that's the kind of shit that would get your blood pumping in the middle of a match.
I want a soundtrack CD. I demand it.
Yeah, I like the music too. I just don't want to see it get thrown away, by the next game. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Totally.
I just hope, the Wiz Khalifa and the dubstep, those were all just sold separately CDs. They didn't really have anything to do with the game. I just hope the in-game music isn't all, really bland, toned-down orchestral like Injustice had.
Right.
Because I feel like we're sort of going down this path, and have been for several games, where the new tracks that Forden is coming up with are just really boring, not very catchy.
It's not just Forden. He's got a whole team under him now, and I'd be really surprised if he's not executive supervising or anything. And I'm gonna call bullshit, and because Shao Kahn's Throne Room, that track in MK9 was boss. It sounds weird to you now, but I can totally see and hear that track in a 16-bit form back in MK2. I thought that was a really good piece of work, and I really loved the MK9 main menu theme. And I think that for the most part, they did wonderful service to a lot of the past stage themes.
Yeah, a lot of the
enough
ones were pretty good.
Both versions of the courtyard were fucking insane. They were.
Going full blown.
All right, but yeah, back to the non-music stuff.
That's right.
There are
Sorry,
other
Justin. We
in the
just did the
trailer
music
that we didn't
episode. You're no longer back on. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I love that damn music. Glad you guys feel the same, because that was freaking cool. But yeah, that pretty much covers it for the trailer. Is there any
Well, not entirely. Like I said, there are two other arenas in there we haven't mentioned yet. Besides the crashed plane and the temple with the snow. There's that one where you see Kung Lao doing the short little kata in, where it's sort of like a Stonehenge with Chinese symbols carved in the rocks, and there's a big column of glowing blue energy. Any thoughts on that?
Was actually wondering if, on lieu of what we discussed last time, maybe this could be some possible potential update of the MK4 Elder Gods temple room. Don't know. Those statues back there, well, the face sculptures rather, kind of crackling with energy. They're not normal statues.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I saw that being discussed and speculated. It's hard to tell with that very little glimpse, but yeah, that would be cool. We talked about that stage in our stage episodes, and that would be cool to see that one back. And what was the other one, Razor?
Yeah, I spotted. I had to actually brighten one of the screenshots taken from the trailer to see this. I can't remember what part of the trailer it's in either, but if you look through it, it's there. There's one that sort of looks like Con Ra's lab from Killer Instinct. There's it's sort of like a wizard's library / laboratory. There's bookshelves and a desk and some sort of floating globe potion bowl thingy. I don't know how to describe it really.
I think I missed that completely.
It might be the part where you see Quan Chi teleport into the portal. If you freeze frame it after he disappears and brighten up the background, because you can't really see it. But it looks sort of I think some sort of alchemy lab or sorcerer's area.
Yeah, this frickin' trailer was packed with so many reveals, so many like little glimpses too. I'm very intrigued by what else those arenas have exactly, especially the snow one, just because obviously I feel like that's the one that we saw the most of, that or the crashed plane one, but I'm still anxious to see more of them because we did just see that one little angle of them.
I think for stages it makes a lot of sense. I'm glad they only showed a little bit of the stages. I would have liked to have seen a little more gameplay. That may be my only criticism. The stages I get. I think they should tease the stages.
I would have liked to see a lot more of Kung Lao and Kitana. Like, we don't have any idea what Kitana's variations are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just sort of teased, which was weird because it was, in a lot of ways, this felt like their trailer, but it wasn't a variation trailer like we're used to at this point.
I really hope that we just get more screenshots from on the official MK Facebook or whatever. Because for a little while there, we were having pictures of just the render of the character and each of their three little variations, and it's been a very long time since the last one. I think that Quan Chi got one. And that was he was the last one.
We got ones for every character except Scorpion, and then they stopped, and then Kung Lao was revealed, so we haven't got him or Kitana yet.
I'm worried they're not going to give enough attention to the reveals now that we're this close to the game, because with other fighting games, they're really good about giving a full exhibition of the new character, and with Mortal Kombat 9, they basically here's a frame of Stryker, here's him shooting a gun. I'm like,
this is exactly like MK9's release schedule had been.
Yeah.
Well, one thing to note is we are going to get that stream at the end of the month, which I think was half an hour to an hour long. So the big problem with the stream last time was they had nothing new to really show. I mean, they went into detail with some of the variations and whatnot, and showing off a little bit more that we haven't seen, explained some things, but a lot of it was all characters we've already seen. They even they re-aired the Quan Chi trailer that we had already seen and analyzed. So at least this time, unless there's even more people announced until then, which I think it's 2 weeks away, something like that, towards the end of the month, I'm sure we'll get full in-depth analysis on Kung Lao and Kitana, at least in there.
But that's bittersweet to me, though, because if they do a stream a month, there's only 3 months left till the game comes out. So, I mean,
they're going to get all 25 or 30 characters.
I don't see why they couldn't, though. Other fighting games do it fine. Like they
could have if they'd started earlier.
And a lot of people are like, "Oh man, some people are never satisfied." But I told people months ago, if they reveal a character, it's not going to retroactively fix the marketing for me. The marketing still wasn't hype. No, I love this trailer. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad this trailer exists. It's a good thing. It happened, and I'm glad it did. But I don't want to let them off the hook. I still think we could have good marketing in January, February, March. I don't know why we have to lower our standards because we got one thing that we really love,
Just kind of wish that they'd go the deception route and just release this really nutso psychotic gameplay trailer where you have people actually pausing and taking still frames of 2 or half a second and a half of footage. Was that smoke I just saw? This and that, I remember that the first Deception gameplay trailer really well because people were going apeshit for just trying to slow it down and see who they could see in that thing. That was a masterstroke of a trailer.
That was awesome. And I like stuff like that early on. I think early on that stuff is perfect, but I don't know. If they're going to do it at this point, they have to follow up with it. I don't really feel like we got to follow up with Stryker or Jade in MK9, that is,
Yeah.
Well, on to the comic.
Yeah.
Shadowloo, which...
We've got 2 comics, technically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shadowloo, which cover did you get?
Both.
You
gonna frame those motherfuckers on my wall.
Nice. At my comic shop, I have 2 near me, and the one I went to on my break only had Sub-Zero, which is the one I'd prefer anyways, just because I like Sub-Zero. But
I want to think it's actually doing really well in comic stores. I hope it is. I only initially scored I had them had them order for me the Sub-Zero cover, but after I started seeing those screen caps on MKO this morning, And I was like, oh my god, is that smoke in the background? I'm like, I can't take it. The hype train has no brakes. And I just ran there, and I also got their very, very last Scorpion cover in the entire store. I got the last other copy that was there.
Nice.
So I'm hoping it's selling pretty well.
Yeah.
Hoping.
Yeah, I hope so too, because obviously that will just lead to more goodness. But, all right, well, somebody wanted us to summarize this. So I'm guessing he meant starting with Chapter 2 and on, since we pretty much completely covered Chapter 1 in last week's episode. So who wants to do this? I can do it if nobody else does, because I do have the comic right in front of me. So
I can start it off because I actually saw that one in good quality. So Chapter 2 basically starts off, I believe, with Takeda and Fox doing a little exhibition match.
Right.
It came off to me as like an initiation match. Like, this is what everyone does when they join the clan.
Yeah, it's like, it's your first day at Fight Club, you have to fight.
Scorpion would do that. And it came off pretty well. I thought it showed a lot of nice characterization of Scorpion.
Well, we should mention this is our introduction to the character of Fox.
Yeah.
By the way. He wasn't in issue 1.
And he comes off, well, kind of like sympathetic and understanding, but at the same time, he pretty much beats the shit out of Takeda.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a nice little insight to all three characters, and Scorpion's kind of being an asshole to Takeda, because we see another exhibition match later, now that they've both been trained, or Takeda's been trained.
Yeah, they're a bit older, yeah.
And he's more talented, but Scorpion's even more harsh on him because he's making dumb amateur mistakes, and Scorpion's kind of tearing him a new asshole because of that.
Right, and he breaks Fox's nose, which Fox had done to him when he was younger when they were fighting, so he kind of repaid the favor.
Yeah, full circle.
Right, and then Scorpion has all this big words for Fox and Takeda, and then Raiden comes down, gives him a little warning about the demon that walks in silence, or whatever the fuck it was.
Well, let's slow down for a second, because first of all, we find out that Scorpion is guarding another Kamidogu.
Yeah.
Like, he has a dagger too.
Yes. And
I was wondering if it was... Okay, was it a different dagger? Because I figured this was in the future, and now he is guarding the dagger after Sub-Zero obtained it.
The design of the dagger, it's drawn differently.
Yeah, it appears it's a different dagger, and I think at the end of the issue, I think it pretty much confirms that, because it lists one of them as a Chaos Kamidogu, and that kind of shows you, and Raiden at the end, spoiler obviously, is holding another dagger, so it seems like all the Kamidogu look like daggers. We kind of speculated that they're weapons now, but it's looking like they're all just daggers of different
It goes back to the origin story of the Kamidogus, is that they were once a single weapon forged by the Elder Gods to kill the one being, and when they killed him, it broke into 6 pieces.
Right.
And so I guess all 6 are now daggers.
Yeah.
So to sum, we've got one that was in that temple that Sub-Zero just kind of hilariously set on fire and was ambushed by Kano in. We've got Scorpion.
So Kano has a dagger. In theory, still has it.
Theory. We've got Scorpion, who's got one. And later on, as we're going to see, Raiden's guarding one himself. So that's 3 accounted for so far.
Yeah, and Raiden gives Scorpion the dagger to guard. So it almost... I don't know, obviously probably not with Kano, but it looked like Sub-Zero was going there for Raiden to get said dagger. So it's looking like Raiden is having, almost kind of like the Infinity Gems with Marvel, Raiden's having, the most powerful heroes guard an individual dagger themselves.
It's like you don't want them all in the same place.
Right. It's very Infinity Gem. And obviously, going back to Deception, that's what the Kami do. That's what Damashi, obviously.
If you had all 6 and you combine them into one, you would become the one being and delete the universe. So, not a good idea.
So it's almost looking like maybe Quan Chi is wanting them all, or... I mean, I guess that's what we'll find out.
We're going to get to Quan Chi.
We find out that the dagger Scorpion is guarding has ties to Quan Chi, and I think that means is that it's the Kamidogu of the Netherrealm.
Right.
Plus.
Okay.
I can see that.
We're getting a little bit of our head of ourselves here.
Yeah.
So he warns him about a demon that broke through from another realm, and you look into like this ball of lightning that Raiden is holding up, which for some reason shows Earth's heroes. He's warning them about them and that they're in danger, and it shows Johnny Cage and Sonya, and they kind of exchange words, but then Scorpion's kind of pissy with Raiden, and Raiden just leaves.
Well,
I just want to like give a quick
Raiden
shout out to my
Earth's heroes in danger, and there are less of them than there once were. And Scorpion's snarky, like, whose fault is that?
Whose fault do you suppose that is? Best line of the fucking comic.
It's snarky, but it's also very tasteful and critical. Like it once again shows me that Scorpion has really kind of solidified as this not crazy hate-filled character, you know? Because I mean, he's still very much an asshole when he needs to be, but he's calm about it, you know?
Yeah.
And I want to just briefly jump in and just shine a little light on Raiden's character here and the way he's drawn. Because he's very morose. Almost every single shot of him, like, his eyes are typically in darkness, but he is unsmiling. Not that he ever smiles, but he just seems much more grim and uncaring as usual. And when Scorpion says that line, there's just this grimace on Raiden's face. And he doesn't even acknowledge the remark.
He gets all frowny, like, "Oh, he hurt my feelings." That's true, though.
Yeah, it definitely... Raiden in this game and in the comic definitely seems like 100% business. It no longer seems like emotion as a thing. He's just complete business all the time.
I think it's because none of his allies want to be friends with him.
I think he's bitter. He seems really bitter and downright... I don't know.
Which could be foreshadowing. Yeah, it could be foreshadowing for like a Dark Raiden, or it doesn't have to be Dark Raiden, but it could... be potentially that Raiden, just finally loses it type of thing.
Well, it's also
even right now, like, yeah.
It's worth pointing out, like, Scorpion tells Takeda, Raiden is a liar and a fool, but when he shows up, people are going to die.
Yeah, he's almost like an image of death. You don't want Raiden to visit you because something bad's gonna happen.
If you knew nothing about
that's
the
his
Mortal Kombat
reputation
universe,
now. He's a liar and a fool.
So yeah,
you wouldn't trust this guy if you saw him for the first time in the comic and you didn't know traditional MK. Even if you did, you probably still would know this guy's not right. This guy is really shady.
Let's recap here. We've got Scorpion judgmental of him. We've got Sub-Zero in the game going, Earthworld needs a better protector. He doesn't know where the hell Kung Lao's been for probably a period of years. Raiden has no friends.
Well, he's making the same fucking mistakes, because, the problem with MK9 was he sent, a vague-ass message, he must win, never says he who. Khan is the same amount of syllables as he. But then, in the comic, he tells Scorpion, beware the one who, walks in silence, or walks in shadows, or something like that. And I'm like, you can't say a fucking name? Yeah, that's really preparing him for the danger.
So then we go on from there that, Takeda and Fox and the Shiri Ryu are all going to sleep, and then all of a sudden Fox starts having some nightmares of this demon trying to talk to him.
Telling him to fulfill the blood code.
Yes, and he proceeds to bust open the lock, keeping the dagger
press
inside.
Down, up, right, A, right, down.
Yeah.
That's dullard. It was Abacab, goddammit. Abacab.
Oh, my bad.
I always said ABACABB, but...
So Fox proceeds to get
I don't follow the blood code.
Kamidogu dagger.
That's why I still have my face.
And then he starts literally cutting his own face off. So it's literally like from the movie Face Off. He goes around his face, and then the skin just comes off. So then he looks almost like the front of his face looks like Red Skull or Meats or anything like that. It's just completely bloody, and you just see his skull and tissue. And
yet he can still pronounce words, just like Baraka.
So he keeps going on about the blood code. All of a sudden, you see Takeda start waking up, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. And Fox has the Kamidogu to Takeda's neck, and you see a panel that shows all the Shiri Ryu completely decapitated and dismembered. You see bodies and limbs just laying everywhere.
Yeah, there's just random arms and legs all around. Takeda slept through this.
Yeah, he's like, holy shit. So Takeda's just completely fucked right now, and he said, Fox says, now let's go find Grandmaster Scorpion and show him that you're not afraid of death. And that's kind of where Chapter 2 ends, and then it picks up with Chapter 3, and we see Scorpion hanging from the ceiling by, upside down, by his own spear, it looks like. And apparently Fox has drugged him with the poisons that Scorpion keeps. And
Everyone's got to have a hobby.
Yes. And he's stuck in a
Well, he
nightmare.
calls himself Scorpion.
Yeah.
You think a ninja assassin named Scorpion doesn't use poison?
It's fitting.
Yeah, it's actually, it's very fitting. But he has Scorpion reliving his darkest day, fighting the Lin Kuei, where the Lin Kuei killed his family, and then...
Yeah, I have a problem with that scene. Can we talk about for a second?
Sure.
Okay, so Scorpion is, the comic says, reliving a memory of the day Sub-Zero and the Lin Kuei wiped out his family and clan. So he's running through the streets of the burning Shirai-Ryu village, and he finds his wife clutching their baby son, frozen to death. First of all, Scorpion wasn't there when this happened. He only knows how it happened because of the vision Quan Chi showed him in MK9. In that vision, his wife is killed with a sword in her home, not frozen in the street. And the Sub-Zero and the Lin Kuei didn't even really do it. It was actually Quan Chi all by himself who killed them. He was lying the whole time.
Yeah.
So what memory is Scorpion fucking reliving?
Looks to me like MK Legacy Season 1. I think that's how they were killed.
Yeah, that's not canon.
Well, let's just brush that one off aside and just say, since Scorpion realizes that this is all wrong and it's all bullshit, and they never talked about feelings, let's just say that, these hallucinations are playing it pretty fast and loose. It doesn't take him long to snap out of it and realize this is not the truth.
He's imagining it. I just have a problem with it being called a memory.
Yeah, indeed.
That's fair.
But yes,
the only memory he should have is of lying headless on the floor of a Shaolin temple.
And
he died before the clan did.
Sub-Zero, in his little dream state, Sub-Zero says, "How does that make you feel?" And that kind of is what tips Scorpion off that this isn't real, because Scorpion and Sub-Zero never talk about their feelings, which is funny.
I think that's a lie. I think that Scorpion's covering up. They talk all the time over
Yeah, him and Bihan are very close.
So then he goes...
They express themselves.
He goes full-on Hellfire Scorpion mode with the skull
every
face.
Friday. Nice cup of espresso. So how's this nice girl you're seeing? Serena was her name? Oh, she's all right.
And
kind of got shot in the back, though.
After Takeda refused to kill Scorpion, this is about when Scorpion is snapping out of it and realizes it's not real and he's waking up. That's when Fox is fine, I'll do it, and then Takeda finally grows a pair and he uses a whip on a black man, which is extremely racist. So he drops the sword and knife.
I like that that's what you got out of that scene.
I'm just saying, this white
Your
guy...
name is Toby.
I thought you saw people, not race, Cyborg.
Yeah, what happened
I'm
to
disappointed. How did you know?
Look, I'm delirious right now. This isn't even real.
So anyway...
Yeah, but Fox, it should be noted that Fox has like this energy blast that he can do. I'm not sure what the hell that's all about. If that's something he can do or the demon can do, that's clearly possessing
maybe
him.
It's from the Kamidogu, who knows?
Yeah, that's very possible. And then Scorpion breaks out from his chains and grabs Fox by the throat and gives him like a little lecture real quick, but Fox just says, "Shut up and do it." And then before he can finish it, Scorpion gives him a nice little toasty, lights him on fire, burns his skin off, and then shoves the Kamidogu right into Fox's heart, which clearly isn't a very good idea. But he does it, and Fox gets even more powerful. He goes all crazy with the rage. You see like the little...
rage!
Yeah, he says thank you, and then...
With every drop of blood, I grow more powerful.
Exactly.
Yeah, like his face starts to grow back.
Yeah,
He
he looks like Freddy Krueger halfway through. And then all of a sudden, you see a sword bust in from the front of his neck, coming from the back of his neck, and it splits it from his neck/throat area all the way up over his head, so splits his head completely in two, vertically.
And it's worth mentioning at this point, he was, presumably from that stab to the heart, he was in the process of regenerating his face and everything, and he mentions the dagger's connection to Quan Chi right before he gets bisected.
Right, yeah, he says the dagger...
Yeah, he's like, Raiden never told you about the dagger's true power, or of its connection to Quan Chi, and then he's cut off
Glork.
mid-sentence.
Yeah. And then after they burn all the bodies and then leave the Shiri Ryu, they have a little heart-to-heart meeting, and they live happily ever after.
I don't think we actually said it. Takeda is the one who cut Fox in half.
Right.
Yes.
Holding a sword, so maybe some
came up
foreshadowing.
behind him with a sword.
He's also dressed exactly like one of Ryu's alternates costumes and back in Super 2 Turbo, and it really freaks me out. Anyway.
Yeah. And then they go, I just don't see how we honor them by leaving. We should rebuild. And then Scorpion tells them as they're walking away, we will rebuild, Takeda, but first we find the one who gave me this dagger. Cut to the Sky Temple in all its glory, and you see Raiden and Fujin talking, and Raiden says, that thing is tearing across the realm and my vision is too clouded to find it, to which Fujin responds, but the price is too high, Raiden. And Raiden says, what price? Among the humans. And he opens up a box and we see another Kami Dogu that looks quite different. And it's another dagger, but it's more of a straight dagger rather than with all these...
Yeah, it's very smooth and not as decorated.
Right. And he goes, it is considered to give blood. And he proceeds to pull up his sleeve, and he starts cutting his own arm. I didn't know Raiden was into that thing. He needs his physical pain to match his emotional pain that he's going through right now.
At this point, Fujin is in the background looking on with his arms crossed.
Yeah,
he's not impressed.
Frowning,
completely
I can't
smug.
believe you're doing something dumb again.
Yeah, he kind of looks very anime to me. He looks extremely anime in that.
He looks kind of emo. He's just like, I don't approve of this.
Well, Fujin, and we should point out, he's wearing his Armageddon costume here, but that's always been a very anime look anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that makes me nervous, though.
And this
we find out that Raiden's cutting himself with the Kamidogu of Order.
Right.
And it gives him visions.
Yeah, so clearly they all have a power associated with them, and that's when we first learn that even though we knew these were Kamidogu, this one that Raiden has is the Kamidogu of Order. So it's looking like we are going to see a lot of realms included in this upcoming game, which, is maybe after the NetherRealm War, we start seeing full-on war between the realms, which is a good sign for a lot of characters from the later games, so that'll be cool if they do play that up in MKX. But the final page is, and this is the big one because it shows off a lot of characters, Raiden says, we are too late, it has begun. And behind him, you see Fujin doing a little weird freak out. He's like, oh!
He's also being
there's
zapped
red
by
lightning all over, and it looks like it's striking Fujin too.
Yeah, he's
probably seeing all this as well.
Yeah, he looks like he's straight out of Dragon Ball Z and with that facial expression. And you see Raiden has visions, and the whole panel is split up with Raiden's red lightning, which is almost kind of like Dark Raiden, but I guess it's coming from the Kamidogu, so whatever.
Yeah, they all make things red. That's one consistent thing so far.
But you see Scorpion walking with Takeda, Frost fighting Cassie in a cage for probably the upcoming MMA, which actually it says at the bottom, next cage, so that is the next issue we have to look forward to, next chapter. And then on the right of that, we get Kotal Khan drinking the blood from a heart, which standing behind him in the distance is Ferritor, the silhouette of them, but behind him to the left or his right is what Shadaloo alluded to as thinking it was smoke, but then I guess as Shadaloo
all right,
what's the guy's name?
It's a ninja. Let's describe what he looks like.
Just to recap on this,
he's got a hood, a white mask, and he looks shirtless with a bunch of belts and straps across his torso.
Sounds awesome.
Now,
and the writer specifically said it's either Smoke, Reptile, or Chameleon. But before that, he said it's not Smoke.
No, it was 5 minutes later. 5 minutes... Yeah, no, never mind, no. It was first he was like, it's not Smoke. Then 5 minutes later, he was like, it's either Smoke or Reptile or Chameleon. So that is one of our two lizard-ish themed friends back there.
He also said, don't be fooled by the lighting, which says to me the colorist made a mistake. And the white mask and the human skin is maybe not the correct color this character should be.
I'm hoping it's
It's-
Reptile.
It's one hell of a coloring mistake if so.
It
I can see
honestly
that
could.
looking really good in green.
If
Yeah.
it's Chameleon, my question is why can we see him?
It honestly could look like Reptile. The way the mask is set up, how it goes, it's almost similar to his MK9. The headdress on top goes down over the bridge of the nose, and the mask itself, if colored in green, could very well fit Reptile. I don't know about all the straps and whatnot, but if his skin was green, and I don't know, I could totally see that being Reptile
Yeah.
It's just
in
like-
disguise.
This just like reminds you like all those episodes of the Transformers where like Skywarp would be colored like Starscream. You'd see like 3 Starscreams on the screen at the same time. If that's a mistake, it's a hell of a one. If it actually is Chameleon, I could see maybe the artist choosing him to give him a new appearance because maybe they were going to draw the the Armageddon appearance and they just figured too transparent, doesn't really look good or whatever reason. But smart money, I would say, probably does say Reptile because he's in the middle of all these panels with like fairly large characters, and I can't see them showcasing Chameleon out of all people that highly.
Yeah. I really doubt it's Chameleon, and I don't think it's Smoke. Mostly because he said it's not Smoke.
Yeah, I'm just hung up on that mask. I think that does look very reptilian in just the way
Yeah.
the mask is formed, and like I said, the way the headdress connects. It just screams Reptile to me.
The point is, we see probably Reptile, and he's running with Kotal's crew, and he has a new costume, so he's probably in the game looking like this.
Yes.
Conversely, the solicit for issue number 3 mentions that Kotal's off to avenge a fallen ally. That could be this guy, that could be this guy, who knows. But I can think of no one better to introduce other than to get killed off than our good old friend Chameleon.
Oh, no. No,
I just think if he was gonna show Chameleon, and Chameleon's not in the game, which means the NRS artists didn't come up with a design for him, then he would look like he did in Armageddon.
That's fair.
One thing to note is I'm sure we will find out eventually who that is. I mean, that's an obvious statement, but my point is all these little divided sections by the Lightning are clearly going to be comic issue arcs that we see.
Like you said, one of them is Cassie fighting Frost,
which we
in
know
a
is next.
cage.
Yeah. And the
Frost
previous
is
one
wearing
was
like
Scorpion and
a plain
Takeda.
tank top and short shorts. Like she's not a ninja yet or anything. She's just a like another MMA fighter.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it might even be the order it goes in, because first you see is Scorpion and Takeda, which we just saw. That's the ending of this, this past issue.
Yeah,
And-
them in their winter gear marching towards Raiden's temple.
Right. And then the next one is Cassie and Frost, so it could be going in order, because if I remember right, the solicitation for the next issue following the Cassie and Frost was supposed to be something Kotal Khan related, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
then, yes, it could
Part
be
of
going
part
in
of the
order.
solicits for the Cassie issues also mention Kotal. Like
okay.
the solicit for issue 5, which is the one that says Cassie fights Frost, says that Sonya meets with Kotal, like she's trying to negotiate with him or something, and it
Gotcha.
doesn't go well.
Gotcha.
So I'm guessing Sonya probably kills whatever poor bastard Kotal's talking about. We'll see. I don't know.
Anyways, the next panel or section of Raiden's Lightning shows
Here's the payoff, folks.
Raiko kind of cuddling and spooning, standing up like they're taking a nice little family picture with Melina, and Melina's holding her own breast.
And if you ask me, from now on, what will Reiko have in Armageddon? I mean, in MKX, if he's in, the answer is a no penis variation. Reiko is not going to have any junk left after Melina gets through with him.
He looks so much like George Clooney in that picture.
Well, I don't
really
think
does
we have to
freak
worry
me out.
about it, because while Melina is wearing a new costume in the picture,
Reiko's
wearing his Armageddon outfit.
Also unfortunate, also worrisome.
It is worrisome. We'll discuss whether that has true relevance, but yes, it is definitely worrisome that some characters seem to be in updated or completely new outfits, whereas others, such as Fujin and Raiko, are completely unupdated and just using their old outfit. Yeah, that does.
We want to remember, though, they have taken artistic liberties. See Suhao.
Right.
You know, it's not a straight interpretation of how that character looked. I wouldn't go right there as
Yeah.
suggesting
Yeah, I
that
think,
means
I think
we're
if
not going
we
to see
see a
this guy.
character who they do take liberties with, it's something to note. But if we see a character who's just plain old wearing their Armageddon outfit, that's got to be always a bad sign.
It's a bad sign. It's not a confirmation, but I want
to believe they know we're going to be thinking that, and they could be doing that as a red herring. We'll see.
It's possible, or just the writer himself does not know what they look like in the game yet, so he just went off his Armageddon outfit. That's always a possibility too.
Very true.
It
I
could
don't
be
know
possible,
about
but
that.
it seems like they know ahead of us knowing. I mean, Kenshi was wearing his MK9 outfit, and it's looking kind of like he's actually going to be in the game. So that is a possibility.
That's a classic outfit, though. Like, that is a traditional Kenshi outfit. Reiko doesn't really have a definitive outfit, really. Like, at least as far as... I mean, he only has one appearance. Like, Kenshi... Like, there's a costume that defines Kenshi. Is there a costume that defines Reiko?
It's also possible, though, that when we actually get to the issue with Reiko in Melina, that we see Reiko in a completely new outfit as well. Because, I mean, this is the same issue that has shown Sub-Zero in that badass outfit, and then in the next panel next to Reiko, he is
that's true.
in his outfit for this game.
Yeah, in the next scene over, next to the Reiko and Melina One True Pairing image, we see the MK9 version of Sub-Zero fighting a bunch of cyber ninjas.
Right. And they just
keeping
seem
in mind we have already seen Sub-Zero prior in the issue wearing something completely different.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
right.
This Sub-Zero does not have the scar on his eye, which I think adds credence to my theory that both Bi-Han and Kuai Liang are in the game.
Yeah, it's very possible.
I think they're both around. Definitely.
And it is
like
worth
we saw
noting
Kuai Liang in issue 1, and in this panel we're seeing Bi-Han. That's what I have.
It's worth noting that the cyber ninjas are generic. It doesn't look like at least
Sector
now.
Cyrax aren't there. Yeah. They're all gray and white.
So yeah, for at least now, it'll be interesting to see if Sector and Cyrax are going to be in those in that particular issue where that's clearly going to be a plot point that we see. So I guess we'll just have that to ponder. And then
personally, I'm thinking it would make more sense for Kuai Liang to be the one going back after the cyber ninjas if he's still alive. So that would mean, in my interpretation, that Bi-Han's the one with the scar this time through, which I just think would be a masterful troll maneuver.
I don't want it. I refuse it.
It's also possible that it's just an artist oversight. I mean, we do see Fujin with a red sash, and then the very next panel he is black and yellow.
Well, that could just be a shadow playing over his clothing. The coloring in general has been kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
Like in some images of Scorpion's face, he has brown eyes. I saw one where he has blue eyes. The entire first issue, he had white eyes.
Right.
Well, I mean, think of it like this. Like, is it possible that he has the scar and there's just an issue with the lighting? Like,
it's a very, very tiny picture.
It is a tiny picture. Even in the actual issue, I can easily see the scar just being left off because it's in that small of a picture. It would just be such a minute detail that it just might have not looked right with it on or something. Who knows?
I just hope that when we get to the Sub-Zero stuff, we'll find out what the hell happened to the one who was at the end of issue 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there was a time
slip like that.
So it's like, did he just spend the next 5 years possessed by Kamidogu magic doing stuff for Kano or what?
Yeah. In the next panel, we get Kano sitting at a table with...
It's Kano in a bar sitting with a Shokan stabbing him in one of his hands.
Yeah, he just literally just has a knife driving through the Shokan's hand against the table. And I was like, is this supposed to be Goro? Because he has a really stupid look on his face.
Well, this guy has a goatee. I don't think it's Goro.
And more hair.
Yeah. So it's just weird that we just have this random Shokan and Kano's just driving a knife. I'm sure we'll get some story
I like the idea that what Kano does now is just live in Outworld and get into bar fights.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, like, there was some sort of strongman competition that the Shokan actually lost. Or Kano was like, let's play that game from Aliens, mate. They just stabbed him in the hand for the fuck of it.
He's
just not very good at it.
Yeah, he arm wrestled him and then just drove a knife into it.
They only have 3 fingers. How do you miss?
On purpose. And then, our very last panel above Raiden's angry head, we have Jax, alive and well, holding a punching bag through which a lovely young lady is punching. And she's got raids, and it looks like she's wearing dog tags, and it looks like she may be related to him or know him well in some way, shape, or form.
She's black, and she has like a white tank top on and purple pants. So yeah, we're not really, and dog tags, like you said. There's nothing really hinting at anything other than the fact that he's holding the bag for her. And is that a white streak going through Jax's hair, or is that the lighting? It could just
be the way his hair is cut or parted. Has sometimes you see that,
because you also see it on the side of, if you look really closely, it's so tiny, but if you look right above his ear, you also see a gray streak as well. So it could either be a military cut
to make him look older.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that looked pretty
worth
boss,
noting. He seems to be dressed different too. I mean, it's a small picture, so he's not very detailed, but he's at least wearing like a white vest.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to allude to, is that if he does indeed have the gray streaks in his hair, that's probably a good sign that Jax, much like Kung Lao, is aged, and Kitana obviously isn't going to show it, but he's another dead fighter. He's another
25 years isn't going to make a difference to her.
Yeah, he's another dead fighter that potentially could be brought back, and he's showing his age as well.
And with Raiden, he says, "We are too late. It has begun." Next, Caged. That's all of our next issue. Caged. And we'll be seeing Cassie.
Yep.
And that's the issue. And holy shit.
Yeah, from start to finish, if you take it, it's kind of weird reading digital because you kind of judge them all individually, but in a full issue, 1 to 3 chapters, that's quite a lot to reveal in just one issue.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happens.
Yeah.
I feel like that's almost a bad thing, though. Like, it's really rushed. Like, when you... especially with where the time skip falls, I feel like we don't get to learn anything about Takeda's personality.
Yeah, it's
like maybe we'll have that opportunity.
Yeah, maybe at only 8 to 14 years old he doesn't have much of one yet, but I don't know. I feel like the upside of a comic book compared to a video game is you could spend more time with these characters and get to learn more about them, and that's definitely worked well for Scorpion, but I don't know. Takeda's a new guy. I want to get to know him better.
Yeah, that's the kind of tough part about this lead-in comic, is that, especially if that last page is anything to go by, we're going to see a lot of characters, a lot of stories covered, from Raiko and Melina to Scorpion and Takeda, like we just saw, Cassie and Frost, Kotal and maybe Reptile, Chameleon, and also Ferritor is involved, Sub-Zero with the cyborgs, Kano and the Shokan, Jax and the other female, and I'm sure we're going to continuously see Raiden pop up, and I'm sure we'll see many more characters get brought up, and continuation of the Kenshi thing. It's like you got to spread yourself around so many different areas that you kind of get a little bit of everything, but not a lot of anything. So
I'm going to be
interesting.
Really cautiously optimistic here about this series, because it goes without saying that with such a huge cast as Mortal Kombat has, we're not going to get to spend as much time as we'd like with everyone. And we've already been told that this series is going to have some nasty blood, guts, and gore. We're going to meet people, we're going to meet old friends, they're going to die. But if we can, even the slightest amount of time can sometimes be a blessing. Because look at Suhao. He had, 3 or 4 lines of dialogue, 2 pages, and we already got to know him better, I found, than the entire game that he was in, personally.
I don't know. I still don't hate him in Deadly Alliance the way other people do. I kind of liked his story as, I would have liked to get to know him better as a Special Forces infiltrator, and maybe what his friendship with Jax was like before he betrayed him, stuff like that.
Who knows? The series keeps on doing well enough, and, I don't think that they planned for the Injustice comic to go on as well as it did. And yes, that has a major advantage of having gigantic, world-renowned flagship characters. But who knows? I would really like to see this series expand, going down the line, into something that fills in blanks and backgrounds and maybe retells certain events and updates things.
If nothing else, maybe after the game comes out, it'll slow down and be a little more character-driven. because it doesn't have to set up the world for when the game comes out.
Right now, it's designed to build hype, and I think it's doing a wonderful job of that.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
It's definitely building hype, and it's also giving fans of these characters at least something to grasp onto and get a hold of. Because if you're a fan of like Reiko or Frost or whatever, what have you, at least, you know, even if you think their chances are grim for MKX, or you're still waiting for them to show up in MKX, at least you have some, you know, you're going to get some story involving them, and you're going to see what they're up to lately, which, you know, in previous sense, you just didn't get that in leading up to a game, and sometimes not even in the game, other than maybe like a brief mention in somebody's bio. So, all, you know, at the end of the day, even if the quality falls to crap, or they just try and cover way too much, it's at least nice for fans of those types of characters to see what their favorite character's up to lately.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, for me, the comic doesn't even really need to be good. It just needs to give me insight to MKX, which is really what I'm after.
Well, being good would be nice. Very nice.
It's a plus.
My thought at this point is, now that we've seen Reiko and Fujin in their old costumes, which I feel like is a sign they're not in X, and that's a real bummer, I'm even more grateful the comic exists, because it means even if I don't get to see Reiko and Fujin in MKX, I get to see them in this.
Yeah. Exactly.
Here's a little comment I want to put out there, and let's keep this in mind. I'm reading MKO now. Thank you, Saki, who I talked to earlier today. Apparently, Kittleson has talked about how they had to make up some designs for characters due to them not appearing at certain time periods in the game.
That's a good point.
Yes.
That's a really good point.
Things like this, I could have sworn I'd remember this quote. This is why I'm afraid to look at character costumes as evidence of anything. Expect nothing. Believe nothing. The truth is out there. Slowly sinking
I'm not
back
saying
to
it was smoke, but it's not smoke.
I'm glad it's not Smoke either, because I would not like that design on Smoke. Like, I was relieved when I found out.
I want to see him look more like Smokey. Like, I want to see his Enra side come out.
There was a little bit of smoke off to his left side. I mean, when I looked at him and I thought it was smoke, I was like, oh my god, his eyes look a little bit more demonic, and there's some smoke off to his left. Maybe he's like come back as harsh than Enra and come back psychotic.
Look more deception-y, I guess.
I guess, I suppose.
Well, like you said last week, Shadowloo, how Reptile has such a drastically different appearance in every game. I feel like they should almost keep that tradition up with Smoke, you know? Make Smoke radically different. I mean, make it fit, but, you know, carry that theme, you know?
I feel like it's Reptile, but I also feel like Smoke doesn't have an iconic look, so you could pull it off with him.
Yeah.
I'm just really not too sure how the MK1 Reptile look became so iconic in the first place, and why people keep asking for it back. He's had so many looks. I want him and Smoke to keep on evolving and changing and being weird and freaky. Just no Garbage Man pants, please. No Garbage Man pants ever.
Well, you guys all know how I feel about the Garbage Man pants. It's as long as he has pants, I'm happy.
We shall see. It is true that if you paint that guy green, though, that's absolutely Reptile. It does look like a Reptile design completely. Oh man, I was having such a great deal until I was deconfirmed.
I feel better. I'm actually happier, but that's me.
I just want to see Smoke alive.
He's still probably in the game. I mean,
well, I guess in my mind, Smoke isn't going anywhere because he was way too popular in MK9, and he had such a huge tournament presence.
And
you know?
On top of that, he died, so that infinitely gives him more of a chance than the alive
everybody
people.
who died is coming back.
Death means are important in MK9.
You know what? Maybe his current absence from the world of the living is a sign that they've taken his Inenra side into serious consideration. Maybe he has changed. Maybe he's still down there and he's altered and different. We'll see.
Why couldn't Cyrax have died in MK9? Damn it.
I think he's coming back, dude. Like I said, if you have a large tournament presence, there's a good chance they're coming back. Like, that's why I was never skeptic about Kitana. I always thought Kitana was going to be in this game.
I don't have high hopes for Cabal.
I'm going to say that Cyrax is going to look amazing in that desert, where he's going to be stuck in for some fucking reason again.
See, with Cyrax,
I seriously hope not.
I like Cyrax stuck in the desert. I think that's one of the best parts of his story.
The tough part
I may or may not be kidding right now. I won't say it.
He can be stuck in there. I don't care as long as he's playable, but ultimately I just want to see progression for Cyrax because we got that whole he's finally getting his humanity back, post MK4, and now it's just like, oh, now we're going back to the cyborg thing because of the reboot.
Now
and
he
it's
is
like,
the least human and the most like a mindless soldier.
So it's like, I just want to see what's next. Come on, tell me. Forget who's next. What's next for Cyrax?
Well, clearly they forgot the whole phrase "who's next" because we've got nothing but classic characters since fucking Cassie Cage and Kotal Khan.
And I'm okay with
who's
this.
next just means who will we reveal next.
This is all because I'm guaranteeing people are complaining so hard about the lack of new characters. They're all going to be major storyline spoilers, each and every
They're
single
coming,
fucking one of
yeah.
them.
They will come.
You all say we haven't seen any new characters. We've seen Takeda now. We've seen Girl Jax.
And let's not forget, we got 4 right out of the gate. We got 4 new characters, and I think they did that by design. I mean, you have Farah, Tor, if you want to count that as 2 or 1, whichever. You have Kotal Khan, you have Cassie, and you have Devora. There's a reason why they showed them off at the beginning, not just because they wanted to give people time to accept what the new MK is going to be, but also because like Shadowloo's saying, it's very likely that they're going to hold off on a lot of the other new characters because maybe they're relevant to other characters that haven't been revealed yet in the story or they play bigger roles. So here, take 4 characters right off the bat. And
do we want to talk about the leaked casting sheet for the web series?
Yeah,
because
I
that may or may not reveal 3 more new characters.
The leaked casting sheet is what has me kind of convinced that Takeda is going to be in the game as a playable character. Between showing up in the comic book and actually having some sort of relevance in the supposed possible Legacy series season 3, I have no idea. It seems like it's too big of a coincidence for this to be happening around the name of a character that we haven't seen in the game yet. So I think that Takeda is a lock. It's going to happen.
Unless he dies in the comic. That's about the only thing that's going to stop him from being in the game, I'd imagine. If he's just used as a plot device for either Scorpion or Kenshi or both, then obviously I don't see him being worth being put in the game for like the 1-2 years that he's relevant, because he's still very young in the comic. But
if anything, I'm really anticipating like Kenshi being used as a plot device for Takeda.
No.
I think that he's gonna Takeda's gonna get the sword and he's gonna get the telepathic powers. The sword's gonna just bestow. It's gonna be hereditary.
There's something so awesome about the combo that Kenshi has. He's a blind swordsman with telekinetic powers.
He is.
So awesome.
He is, and he is the last person, I came to this realization, that we would expect to get killed off. Because everyone loves him, and we're used to seeing the older characters die left and right, but Kenshi's had a pretty damn good so far. And I
if
guess
you want to kill him, fine.
We'll
just see him back in MK11, so I wouldn't be too upset.
There you go. It doesn't even
In fact, it'd probably make his chances better at this rate. No, after Kenshi was held off for just DLC last game, so he didn't really have a story presence as much as I like Kenshi. He's not my top 3, but he's definitely in my top 10. I really like him, especially when it comes to the 3D era characters that were introduced. I really enjoy him, and I really love his gameplay. Like, I'm a big fan of like Daredevil as a character and the way his comics are written, because there's something really awesome about a guy that's blind but can still completely hold his own and kick people's ass. Throw on top of telekinetic powers, which are absolutely awesome, and he wields a sword with said telekinetic powers. There's just so much awesomeness there. I want to see Kenshi embedded into the story and really play a role, because I just feel like he has that presence, that character, the personality, and that potential there. I'd hate to see him get killed off. I really would.
I agree, because I feel like they over-isolated him in Deadly Alliance, and they did a nice thing with Sub-Zero and Kenshi, but, there was no follow-up to that, you know?
Right.
I agree with everything you've just said, which is why I think I'm so convinced that he's gonna die. Because it's gonna rip our hearts out.
Kill somebody off that we don't need anymore, that's overstayed their welcome, or that's just not important anymore, or doesn't have the potential. I mean,
I found a yellow cyber ninja in the desert. Can I kill him?
Do you really want Kenshi?
Kidding.
Do you really want Kenshi used as a plot device for Takeda? It's a character that's not even proven to be. I mean, if we're just gonna have Kenshi's son be Kenshi version 2 anyways, then why sacrifice a character with so much potential for a kid version of him like that. I don't know. I just don't see that being a good decision.
I'm just looking at the facts here. I mean, we've got like the son. We've got like the daughter of Sonya and Johnny. Jax has a little one of some sort. We've got Kenshi's son. Not all the parents are going to survive till the end.
That's why
Someone has
Sonya
to patch a torch.
Sonya will die. And
Maybe.
Hey, maybe that is Jax's daughter. We don't know.
Maybe.
I'd be so happy if I never had to play that matchup ever again. Like, I don't like MK9 Sonya. Like, she's number 4 in the game, but she's the stupidest character in the game. I mean, oh god, that fucking armored cartwheel can suck a dick. But I feel bad for all the Fox fans. You know, that might be a shame.
Yeah, that was funny. Everyone was like...
Speaking of which, any theories as to what's possessing him? What is the one who lurks in darkness? Any takers? It's not Quan Chi.
I think it's Havoc. And my reason, other than the fact that he cuts his own face off, which is purely something Havoc related, because he's missing his own fucking face. But the reason why I think it's Havoc is because we know that these are Kami Dogu. We know they represent the individual realms. Do we know which one's the Chaos Dagger yet? That could be the Chaos Dagger, and Havoc might have some possession over it. Especially because he's one of the very few characters that were actually shown in MK9 in somebody's ending.
Here's the thing. Like, Raiden says that the possessing force is a demon from another realm. He doesn't say what realm. And it's sort of implied it's not the Nether realm. That said, the guy specifically says that the dagger is related to Quan Chi. So, I mean, he could be Havoc, but I don't think that means the dagger is the Chaos Realm dagger. On the other hand, we might be reading into it way more than is actually there, and it's like the possessor is Draman. Because, for one thing, Draman is an actual demon. I don't know that I'd classify Havoc as one, and we've never seen him possess people in the games.
It's weird, but I don't think dark when I think Havoc. I don't think, like, evil when I think Havoc. It's not the first thing that comes to mind.
I definitely don't think walks in silence when I think Havoc.
You know, a lot of... I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, we've had those corrupted Liu Kang theories out there for a little while, and I tried to squint when I looked at those fireballs and went, could that be kind of a Liu Kang fireball, kind of really corrupted via Kami Dogu energy? Maybe, kind of, sort of. But I would never, in 10 lifetimes, classify Liu Kang as the one who walks in silence.
Yeah. Well, hell, if we're thinking about dead guys who've become ghosts to possess people, it could be Shang Tsung.
Oh, that would be so good.
That would be good. I would really enjoy that.
Oh my god, if they actually heard us going, Shang Tsung got the rawest fucking deal in MK9, please fix that. If this is actually Shang, oh god, I'm a happy man.
Yeah, I mean, what's worse than a fucking sorcerer walking around? It's the sorcerer's ghost just fucking haunting and possessing people and making them cut their own face off.
Shang was all about being a guy full of souls. If he's a soul who enters other people, I mean, that I like that. That's a good, like, reversal.
Right.
You know, when he started cutting his face off, my mind went to Meat. I'm like, are we watching an origin story for Meat?
No, Meat had a bio in Armageddon. He was a flesh pits experiment that never got finished, and that's why he doesn't have skin. But he can do whatever, I guess. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to, like, be mad if they change the canon of Meat. I'm willing to forgive.
I'm glad that he got what he did. But I think that any origin story behind Meat is going to be... It needs to be so epic that it can't possibly take place in this comic, you guys. It needs its own VH1 behind the music special or some shit.
That is how I feel about Chameleon. Because Chameleon, to me, should be like the Reapers from Mass Effect. You can't understand his motivations. Well, it's so far beyond you.
Chameleon has the richest history of all. The deepest lore. Because he's been in every game.
He has.
You just don't see him.
In every scene.
Where is he in Special Forces? Tell me, Razor. Where is he in Special Forces?
He's
well, who
next
do you
to
think
Tremor
is playing
crying.
that jazz music as Jax is driving his purple Cadillac?
God damn, I love this fan base. I do.
All right, well, let's get into the the cast leak for the digital series.
Yeah, we should do that, shouldn't we?
Yes.
As we mentioned we would. So Takeda we've covered.
The cast leak actually starts with the most interesting piece, I think, and it's that Bo Rai Cho is on here.
Yes.
Hmm.
Which I feel like a lot of us expected. I totally see Bo Rai Cho being in MKX.
If
having a bigger
Kenshi
role,
is considered the best character of the 3D era, I think Bo Rai Cho is the second best.
I think so too, and let me just say that.
You could make an argument for Havoc or Ashra, but I think the developers like Bo Rai Cho more because he fits a kung fu movie archetype that they seem to really enjoy, which is having the old master.
Right.
Which otherwise MK doesn't really have other than maybe Raiden. He's
going
obviously
back to Deadly Alliance, that's why Kenshi and Bo Rai Cho worked so well. They felt like they were taken out of 70s kung fu flicks more than anyone else in that story. And we've had such a wonderful turnaround for Bo Rai Cho. I remember when it was all just fat jokes, and I don't want to see this kind of character in the game, and now people are actually asking for him. It's so hard.
Well, that's the thing is, I definitely classify Kenshi as one of the best characters, but I wouldn't classify Bo Rai Cho right under him because he wasn't one of the best characters, but he is one of the characters with the most potential.
Yeah, like when I say best, I don't mean gameplay at all. His moves I actually kind of hate, and I think he needs a complete from the ground up redesign in that terms. But
he has
story-wise, I think Bo Rai Cho has the most to offer.
He's by far one of the most workable.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, if you look at Havoc, he's extremely workable. You look at, say, a character like Astra, who I think is a good character, I don't think it's as easy to drop her into the MKX story. I think you can do it, but Bo Rai Cho just kind of logically connects to everything that's going on, I feel like.
The thing with Astra is I could easily see her being put in MKX, but she wouldn't have like a major story. So is she really important enough to... Like, I could see her being in the game,
like
but I don't think she's needed.
If you're going to tell a story about war with the Nether Realm, having a demon hunter show up to help kind of lends itself naturally.
I really want to see her, but I feel like Bo Rai Cho, I feel like he's almost needed in the game just for that leadership role, that mentor
I felt like
role.
he should have been in 9. Like, they should have showed some kind of like training of Liu Kang.
Yeah, and he was one of the other ones that was the very rare few that actually managed to get a cameo in an ending.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that he's in the series, and yes, I fully expect him to be revealed for MKX. Hopefully not the only character to make it from those era of games, because we have still yet to see any other than Quan Chi and likely Kenshi.
So anyway, the casting sheet lists him as a lead. It says he should be played by someone in their 50s or 60s, any ethnicity. His story is pretty much the same as it's always been. He's a drunk but secretly an expert fighter. He's a master at the Wuxi Academy. He is from Outworld but never competed in the tournaments because his wins would have counted for Outworld, so he trains humans instead. And there's a little bit more to his role in this series, but it connects to one of the new characters, so we can talk about that when we get to him.
I'd like to see a Scottish Bo Rai Cho if that's the case.
You're just thinking Highlander. You're just thinking Highlander and drinking and boozing. You just want Sean Connery as Bo Rai Cho.
I'm before that.
I'd play a game where you could just vomit on the ground to Sean Connery any day.
All right, so what was the next character that was on the list?
The next character is Devora, which I have a big question about. This is a web series made by some of the same people who were responsible for Legacy. Legacy had a budget so small, they got Sub-Zero's costume from Walmart. The fuck are they going to do Devora?
Makeup, probably, and they just won't include her other legs, hopefully, because they'll look
I don't believe they can afford a thing of eyeshadow, much less prosthetics for a whole bug person.
Some special effects guys out there, sadly, will work for very cheap. I've got a friend who was in the business, and he tells me it's very competitive, and it's sad when people will sometimes lower themselves to being willing to get paid for.
I don't know. Maybe maybe they'll give this one an actual budget. Maybe they stiffed Tankerowan on money because they didn't trust Tankerowan. I certainly didn't trust Tankerowan. I hope this looks a lot better than Legacy did. I hope they actually have the money and the skills to put this one together, especially because it's actual canon to the games, it seems like. At the very least, just try to meet the bar that Street Fighter Assassin's Fist set.
I'm just surprised we haven't heard anything about the series since it was originally announced a long time ago.
Well, it seems like that's because they're, still in early pre-production if they're just now casting some of the lead characters,
Yeah, which is
this
quite
isn't
shocking.
I wouldn't look for this for quite some time.
Yeah, it could be at least a year before this is actually on the web.
Yeah.
So anyway, Devora's story actually gives us the name of her race and the realm they come from. Her people are called the Chitin, which is a funny little bug pun, by the way. And their realm was called Arnyek before it was conquered and merged with that world by Shao Kahn. And it basically says her story is that she's loyal and insightful, which is unusual for the otherwise solitary, hermit-like race she comes from. And those skills made her, suited for politics. She rose quickly and became, a close advisor to Kotal Khan. So we know what her deal is now.
That's really strange, though. I didn't see that coming. She doesn't strike me as someone who...
I
don't know.
I thought that she was going to be a kind of a lone wolf type of character.
Yeah, I don't think loyalty when I look at this character. I thought she was someone working out of fear. That's what I thought was going on, but...
I don't know. It seemed to me like one of the earliest things we heard about her people was that they've been in hiding because they're afraid of Shao Kahn, and now that he's dead, they've come out. So if fear was a big motivator for her, why wouldn't she just stay in hiding? But, something
Well, I
could
thought
happen.
maybe she didn't have a choice. I thought maybe there would be some events that would lead Kotal to Devora against all circumstances. I thought maybe, this is the new world. This is how we adapt. That's what I got from it.
Maybe. Something could happen in the middle of story mode that changes the relationship between her and Kotal, too. They don't necessarily seem... in the few intros we've seen where they talk to each other, it seems like something has happened and they've had a falling out, or they were friends or co-villains, whatever, and now she doesn't trust him, or he can't protect her from something. It's hard to say.
Correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it mentioned at some point that MK9 would chronicle the rise and fall of Kotal Khan? Emphasis on fall?
Yes.
When the fuck does this take place, then?
Well, this seems to be at the beginning of the Cassie as an adult era, judging from some of the other character descriptions.
I guess it's filling in blanks. Okay, then.
Yeah. The next character listed is Scorpion. And, which, the weird thing about his bio is it actually talks about him as if it's still during the Netherrealm War. It's before what we've already seen in the comic. It specifically says, Scorpion fights alongside Quan Chi in Netherrealm's invasion of Earthrealm.
What?
So maybe there's flashbacks, or the series is broken up into different time periods like the game is?
Possibly.
Or it's yet another Star Wars situation where we've got a bunch of different parties given a bunch of different directions by one central place, which does not bother to keep them all in check, and we're already looking at major plot fuck-ups timeline-wise.
Or maybe...
That's my bet. Sealed, signed.
Maybe the web series takes, maybe they have an episode for each...
Yeah, see, that's sort of what I'm thinking.
Set of years for story.
Here's the thing. The character under Scorpion is Takeda, and it actually talks about Scorpion training him as a ninja. So, obviously, two different time periods right there on the same casting sheet.
Right. I'm thinking that we're going to get maybe 5 to 10 episodes at max, and they're all going to take place separate from each other. Obviously, one cohesive story, but covering complete different time periods amongst each of them. They're not going to be like, tune into episode 2 to see the continuation of this thing, and then obviously episode 3 follows that and whatnot. I don't see that happening. I see them all being self-contained periods of the timeline, which by the descriptions, like you said, makes complete sense.
Yeah. So anyway, Takeda's is interesting because he's an adult in this description. It says, in his mid-20s, quiet and mild-mannered, but with an angry streak. He is the nice one of the group. He's a world-class swordsman who is adept at telepathy and telekinesis. Takahashi Takeda is the son of the hero Kenshi and a young Thai-American woman named Su-Chin, whom Kenshi met during his travels. And I'm going to pause right there. Takahashi, is that a Thai last name? Because it doesn't sound like one.
I'm not from Thai, so I have no idea.
Yeah, it
sounds
sounds Japanese to me.
Yeah. It does sound delicious.
So
So,
right
I don't
now.
know. I don't see Takahashi being Su-Chin's last name, is all I'm saying. And maybe I'm the one who's wrong. But my
This is the
question
only-
would be, if it's Kenshi's last name, why is Takeda taking his dad's last name when he, knew him for all of 12 minutes?
This is the only time I've ever heard the phrase "a mild-mannered" used in reference to someone who isn't Clark Kent.
A person's manners can be mild. That's a thing.
But with an angry streak. You wouldn't like Takeda when he's angry.
He's obviously
Oh,
a little bitter about his dad, who he only knew for 12 minutes.
Maybe a lot happened when he was on that back. Maybe when him and Kenshi were.
We don't know.
maybe.
We should really,
Well,
Kenshi was running
while
for a year.
we should
While
really
I'm
just
talking about
devote.
his name, it lists family name first, but under Scorpion it says Hanzo Hazashi.
Okay, listen. We can devote an entire fucking episode of the Netherkast to every single instance of them screwing up an Asian name. It happens all the time. It has been happening for years. It's never going to stop. They don't care enough to fix it.
Here's my point, though. This is the first time it's not been consistently wrong. They were always first name first, family name last, until now. Even though that's not how they say it in China and Japan, but at least they stayed the same in every game. This one has characters doing it both ways. See, Hanzo is Scorpion's first name. His, first name and last name obviously refers to the order. I don't know what the word is for when it's... Hazashi is his family name. So, he's putting his family name last, but the other Japanese guy is putting his family name first. That's just confusing. And it gets worse with another character down the line, and I'll mention when we get to it. But anyway, moving on from that, the rest of it says, when Su-Chin passed away, Kenshi was shocked to learn he had an 8-year-old son with her. He took Takeda to Hanzo Hazashi, the former Scorpion, to be instructed in the martial arts. Takeda had no contact with his father for many years, until the day he was to leave Hanzo's tutelage. Kenshi revealed that he had left Takeda with Hanzo to protect him from his mother's murderer. Despite this revelation, and subsequent reconciliation with Kenshi, Takeda has abandonment issues yet to overcome, which makes working with his father in Johnny Cage's Special Forces team a challenge at times. So there's a lot of info right there. A, Kenshi is still alive. B, Johnny Cage is in the Special Forces. C, he's leading a team.
Yep.
Maybe he did enter some training after the MK9 period and learned how to control himself a little bit better.
Maybe it's nepotism and his wife gave him a job.
Or maybe Sonya just got brutally murdered, so then he finally decided to get his shit together.
You keep pushing
Maybe-
that Sonya dies narrative.
Maybe Ninja Mime 2 just didn't do that well, and he got typecast or something. Who knows?
Anyway, that's Takeda's story. The next one listed is a new guy we've heard nothing about so far, named Salazar.
And he's a guest character from the Harry Potter universe, folks.
Obviously.
I'm sorry, I fucking hate that.
Or Resident
I
Evil
hate
4.
it too.
Could be Resident Evil 4.
I don't know. I think Salazar, I think of like a Cuban drug lord. I think of someone who cuts her face off with a weed eater on a boat. That's what I think of.
Yeah. Yeah.
God bless anyone who got that reference.
Oh god. I'm just picturing like fighting style like names a la Armageddon through Deadly Alliance at the bottom of a screen. Weed eater.
Everybody had to have a weapon, man.
Yep.
Even when it didn't make sense.
Weed eater, troll hammer, it's all good.
Just like everybody had to have an animality when it didn't make
No.
sense.
Are you telling me you don't believe Cyrax can turn into a shark?
Smoke had no weapon.
I was there, I saw it.
Instead, Smoke used judo. Smoke used
I like
judo.
how Reptile turns into a monkey.
We talk all the time about how Cyrax how Striker.
Strirax.
We talk all the time
That's
about
Alexa
how
for you
Striker
right
has
there.
no powers. We keep forgetting he can turn into a dinosaur.
Yep.
That's canon. It happened. We all saw it.
Extra strength Strirax.
And again, I was there, it happened.
Strikersaurus Rex. It's real. Believe.
I'm kind of wishing Strirax was real. That sounds
Did you
bad.
see the animal? Did you see the animal that Chameleon turned into though?
It was not a chameleon, was it?
I don't know. I didn't see it either.
I don't think he had one.
Animality, your animality, your animality. Your animality.
It's my animality. Pretty cool, huh?
Just another one of Nightwolf's crazy tests.
I love the way he pronounces that line. He puts the emphasis on crazy.
Christ.
Crazy tests, as opposed to regular tests, which he was completely prepared for.
All right. What's the next?
I thought there was going to be multiple choice, not a fight with Jade in the snow.
What's the next character on the list?
Well,
Salazar,
I haven't
Oh yeah,
described
Salazar.
yet.
Right.
It says he's in his 30s to 40s, quiet, reserved, and downcast. He's a mercenary in the service of the Emperor.
Likes long walks
Intelligent
on
and
the
eloquent,
beach.
he sounds like he may be American. Salazar's exact origins are unknown. Born on Earth, he somehow found himself in Outworld. There he spent years wandering its vast territories, selling his amazing weaponry skills to local warlords. Now in the employ of Kotal Khan, Salazar shows no inclination to return to Earthrealm or aid them in their present struggles. So he's basically Kano too.
Fuck, this sounds like he may be American even mean.
That
like
he has
30
no accent. Cast somebody who has no accent. That's what they're going for.
Yeah.
But yeah, why do we need this guy when we have Kano? He sounds like Mavado also. Like, right down to the ethnic name.
Sounds
Yeah.
generic.
I hate this character. I hated the description. Exactly, Kano 2. I was reading that description and I was like, yay.
Yeah, I said it to you guys in private before the show, and I was like, "What? This guy better have a damned interesting character design, because this bio... How many Kanos do we need? This is the 5th time they've tried to make a Kano. Nobody likes the first Kano that much.
Oi, mate. Oi. Looking at a Kano action figure right now on my desk, god damn it.
Yeah, and how long did you own that before you finally opened the package?
I moved, man. It was in my basement.
I actually think Kano.
That's how
might be
important
my
Kano
least
is. You
favorite
leave him in the
MK character.
basement.
Ugh, I like Kano.
I'm so tired. Well, I don't know how, man. I'm trying, but
I think it's just
God,
Trevor
yeah.
Goddard. He was good, man.
Yeah, well, without Trevor, what have you got?
I
Jarek,
like
Kira.
Kano.
Mavado, Salazar.
I liked Kano and Deadly Alliance.
They're all the same guy.
No face.
Kano and
Yes.
Deadly Alliance I thought was good, but yeah, he hasn't had a really relevant, good story in a long.
I
long
just
time.
don't.
He's
I don't
always
like the foundation. I don't.
he's always interesting. He's predictable, but it's always a treat to see who he's gonna fuck up next.
I mean, did you see in MK9 when he just choke a bitch?
I did like his choke move.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The one part of his moves list that I enjoy using.
I like his choke move. I like his beard, but I don't like Kano. I'm trying so... I don't want to dislike any character, but
I would have liked Kano maybe in MK9 if he'd had the eye laser. I think I will play him in cybernetic variation in this game. Might be the first time I actually give a shit about his gameplay. But we don't need another Kano.
No.
So yeah, that's Salazar. And now we're going to talk about the one that makes me really mad.
Take it away.
Kung Jin. Kung Jin is in his mid-20s with a slight Asian accent. He is the younger cousin of the Earthrealm hero Kung Lao.
Yeah.
Pause. Kung Lao is the last descendant of the great Kung Lao. He is the only branch left of his family tree. How the fuck does he have a cousin?
Yep.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb.
I went into this game thinking it's going to be more of the same disappointing stuff that MK9 was. I started to get hyped that they might be fixing their mistakes when I saw Sub-Zero get his scar in the comic. This blurb alone de-hyped me. This is the exact same dumb retcon bullshit they did in 9. Kung Lao does not need a fucking cousin. You know what's really sick? Liu Kang has an estranged brother. This guy could have been Liu's nephew, if you still wanted a new Shaolin monk.
Chao Kang. Do it, people. Chao Kang.
Yeah. Everybody remembers Chao Kang.
This is actually I'm pretty easy when it comes to shit, but this is a pretty stupid move to me right here, and I kind of hope that this isn't anyone at NRS's brainchild, and that this is something that, like, I don't know.
Why do you have a Chicago accent all of a sudden? This is a stupid move here, is what I'm going to go with right here.
Slip into British accents, okay? It happens.
It's the Canadian. It comes out in weird ways. You hold it back for too long.
It's the Canadian in me. I have no actual national identity, so I just absorb that of others. Continue. God, I hate
He's been holding back the A for so long, he's actually become English.
Maybe they just revived his entire family because that's what we do in Mortal Kombat.
Well, there's more. Unpause. He is cerebral but streetwise. He's American in speech patterns and idioms. When Kung Lao was killed in the war against Outworld, his family's fortunes took a turn for the worse. He journeyed to the U.S. and became a thief. Pause again. When Kung Lao was killed in the war against Outworld, his family's fortunes took a turn for the worse. That implies he was supporting them. Monks don't make money, and the tournament didn't have a cash prize. So how does dying in Outworld make a difference to anything?
Family's fortunes.
Kung Lao pretended to be dead from MK3 to MK4, and we never heard shit about his family falling apart.
Now, how are you interpreting the fact that, this is what I want to know, that he's supporting them financially? How are you getting that?
The kid became a street thief.
That doesn't mean that he was poor. It means he was sick of the life he was living. His family was falling apart because Kung Lao had died and everything gone to shit, and they were all screaming and yelling and throwing dishes at each other, and it was all, "You're making me cry, stop fighting and love each other," and he just ran away and began a life somewhere else. It doesn't mean Kung Lao was supporting them financially. I'm willing to agree with you.
Had. I thought he just had sponsors during the MK tournament, like 8 footlongs between matches. I don't know.
Did you not see the Nike logos on his sick kicks?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about his fight shorts.
Fucking Adidas hoodie.
Sponsored by Wonder Bread.
So, an encounter with Raiden changed Jin's outlook, and he joined the Shaolin monks. Then he joins Johnny Cage's secret special forces offshoot. Jin's streetwise past provides him extra insight into the minds and motivations of those who would harm Earthrealm.
Like the Mad Gear Gang.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
This character just sounds annoying to me.
There is nothing about this that I don't hate.
I have problems believing someone at NRS thought this up. This sounds like a studio-created character to me or something.
Yeah, this character better be web series only, but I have a pretty bad feeling that there's going to be none of those, and this is a character in the game.
I think Salazar and Kung Jin will both be web series. That's the
I
thing,
think
though.
so
Why
too,
why
honestly.
would they make Salazar definitely sounds like a web series only character just for like plot device, but why would they make Kung Jin? Why would they even make that character for the web series? Is my
I don't know.
I can believe Jax. I mean, we've seen Jax training a young girl, presumably related. Johnny and Sonya have a daughter, and I mean, Kenshi's got a son. I don't think every single character needs to have an offshoot or a
yeah. Why are they
relative.
all having babies all of a sudden?
and-
It's just like-
I think
that's
that
the
this
one thing about this I don't hate. He's
this is a brick
not
too far.
a child of somebody. He's, a side relation, like a cousin, or like I said, I'd have actually kind of liked this character's description if he was related to Liu Kang instead of Kung Lao, because Liu Kang has living family. Kung Lao's not supposed to.
I just don't feel like he's actually going to be part of the game. Something feels really wrong about this entire bio.
I don't think he will either. But well, there's nothing. I'm not going off of anything other than just I don't know. I just don't see. I feel like you ruin the specialness of descendants and children of the previous fighters if 6 or 7 new characters are of that mold. You ruin. Cassie right now is quite special and unique in what she, her being represented for like the first child of the fighters that we knew growing up. That's a unique thing. But if Kenshi does it, if Jax does it, if
I think
then it's no.
Jax's was the one too many for me.
So I don't know. If that's
maybe
the case,
he's not even related to that girl. Maybe
Right.
he's just her mentor, and that would be
Right.
fine.
It's just I don't know. It ruins the mystique and fun of it. Like Cassie right now, I think is really interesting for that fact. But if you take that away from her, nothing. Once everybody is special, then no one is special. It goes under that mindset, and it's just I don't want to see that.
I'm starting to feel like there may be too many teacher and students too. Like
Right.
if Jax, even if Jax isn't related to the girl and he's just training her, Scorpion has Takeda, and this is just a repeat of when Sub-Zero had Frost. So, like, it doesn't feel original anymore.
Right. It's like it feels like MKX. A lot of the characters that we know and love aren't even going to be playable. They're just going to be on the sideline, rooting them on like Pokemon Trainer in Smash Brothers Brawl. It's like, are we gonna have like managers from wrestling now, so you can have Sub-Zero as your manager during the fight, and he's just hanging over there in the sideline? It's just like I don't want to see.
Well, no, Farah is clearly Tor's manager in one variation.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I don't want to see a bunch of characters just start mentoring other characters because I don't know.
I like the idea in my head now that Tor is Brock Lesnar and Farah is a very tiny Paul Heyman.
I guess it's just it's so I don't know.
Cute as a button, too, just like the real thing.
The one behind the 21-1.
I want her to chant in the game: "Eat, sleep, conquer, repeat."
It's just so frustrating. I hate when they bring something new and then they overdo it. I mean, that could be said about we've already said it about the split down the middle. We're already saying about like making holes in people's bodies now that they have the tech to do that. I don't want, please don't do that, because if Bo Raicho is in the game, he's going to be a mentor of someone.
Yeah.
And we don't need 5 or 6 mentors. Like I said, we don't need the Karate Kid where the mentors are rivals and they make their kids and descendants and their pupils fight each other. And it's just like, I really don't want to see that happen.
There's another level this bothers me on, and maybe it's childish of me. It's weird that, I'm on the internet. They'd probably call me a shipper or whatever. None of the kids belong to couples that I actually like from the games. Like, there's no kid of Liu Kang and Kitana. There's no kid of Sub-Zero and Serena. There's no kid of Melina and Baraka that we know of anyway. It just seems weird. They picked really weird characters to give relations to. Like, why does Jax need a student or relative?
Can we agree that we haven't jumped the shark until we see a little baby wearing Shao Kahn's helmet with like gigantic, terrible Tarkatan teeth?
I will consider it a small miracle if we can get out of this game without finding out Shao Kahn has any children. Because I have had so many arguments on message boards revolving around the thing, people saying, well, maybe Reiko is actually Khan's son, or maybe so-and-so is actually Khan's son. And I'm all like, if he had a son, then what does he need Melina for?
It's patently absurd. Everyone knows Shao Kahn is actually really Reiko anyway.
Maybe
Kidding.
Ermac's descendant will just be one of his souls that's like a child, and he'll just raise
Yeah,
him.
he just let that one go.
Yeah.
Be free!
Pooped it out.
Use your own body somehow.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, though, I'm fairly certain that some of these guys are not going to be around to mentor their offspring or relations or partners or proteges for all that long.
Reptile's rooting on a salamander. He's just
Oh, God!
I'm still back.
no special qualities of the salamander, just a salamander that he found on the street.
Just a regular...
My only friend now.
4 inches long. It just sits there and he's like, what are you doing? Fight them! This is what I've been reduced to!
Oh dear God, make me proud!
I'm still picturing Ermac like letting go of a balloon, but it's not a balloon, it's a soul. He's just like waving. We are many, you are abandoned.
Yeah, exactly. Just sending his kid off to grade school for the first day. First day at kindergarten. I can just see that stupid little soul with wraps around its face, and then it has like a little tooth hanging out like little kids. Red balloon. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Damn it, now I want friendships back in the game.
I want fucking friendships back so bad.
The weird children of characters train is not quite over. There's one last name on this sheet. He's called Ron Tan Cho, and he's described as an underground crime boss who, for some reason or another, gets into a fight with Devora, and he captures her.
Great.
His goons apprehend her. What kind of fucking goons take down a bug woman with giant spider legs spreading out of her back?
Well, that's the weird thing. It doesn't say where he's from. It says that an Asian person should play him. But his last name is Cho, and he's fighting an Outworlder. So maybe he's a crime boss in Outworld? They're oddly vague about it. I think it's odd, potentially interesting if Bo Rai Cho actually has a son who became a criminal.
That character summary was so boring, I forgot it existed.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even think about
it
when we were going on the list. I thought Kung Jin was the last one.
I thought so too.
Damn it.
Generic.
Disappointed that there was another one on the list.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of it. Ron Tan Cho is the last name.
Alright. Thank God. Thank God there's no other, ugh.
Well, we've been going on
maybe I'm so willing
why?
To accept him because he looks so much better in comparison to Kung Jin. He doesn't actively offend me as Kung Jin does.
But yes, we are ending this episode because I gotta edit this son of a bitch.
I was going to say, how do you want to handle questions? Because we're pretty far on the clock here, so...
We're just going to do them next week.
we're building up a healthy pile, Cyborg.
Guys.
Maybe
next week.
Look,
the boss man made that call. Don't look at me.
We're praying for another drought so we can answer those questions. How about that? Would you rather us be packed filled with info to cover so we don't get to questions, or would you... I feel like we answered a lot of them anyways.
To 3 hours, I think.
Yes,
we can be forgiven.
We can call it.
And
it's a necessary evil.
And yes, I would like to edit this and get this up tonight rather than... And I'm already going to be up for till 1 at least doing it now. So, yes, we are calling this an episode. You got 2.5 hours plus, so you can spare the questions for now and forgive us.
7 minutes short of
San
3 hours.
So, yes. Anyways, that is this episode, and I look forward to seeing what's next for the comic and what kind of reveals we will get from week to week going further into the future. We have the stream at the end of the month, so yes, I'm excited to see what all we get and how fast the reveals are going to be. Maybe every episode's going to be this jam-packed. I have no idea. I would like to think so, that there's something each week that gets us excited. At least there's the comic chapters, but either way, I'm glad to have stuff to talk about.
I hope we get a little bit of a break for the next week or two, but not too much of one.
I don't, because we wouldn't shut up about how much we needed the news. Now it's coming.
Yes.
Now
Yeah, I
we're
agree.
see, if
I want news
Choke
right
it
now.
down.
news piece that comes out is more Kung Jin, that's not good.
But yes, I feel like we've shifted gears, and I feel like it's going to shift even more once we get maybe another month in. So hopefully, yes, we do keep getting more and more news going forward, and we need a lot of character reveals and a lot of detailed reveals for each one, hopefully, going forward.
Oh, I forgot. I was going to be mad about his name, too, because Liu Kang's last name is Kang, so how come Kung Lao's last name is Kung?
I thought you were going to say, oh, I forgot there's another character that...
No, I thought of more reasons to hate Kung Jin. That's fair, right?
not another character.
I'm telling you, we need an episode devoted to names. It's gotta happen.
I do want to give a quick shout out to TYM for giving us front page once again.
Yes,
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
I
Thanks,
completely... Yes, I've been slacking on that, but thanks everyone. We're actually up to 149 subscribers now on YouTube, so just at the cusp of 150, and that's pretty damn awesome. And yes, thank you to Storms and everyone else at TYM for being very positively receptive to the podcast, and hopefully in the future you guys keep checking it out and the word keeps spreading. And yeah, we thank you very much, and all the participation on MKO, of course, all the people sending in questions each week and listening to the episode and having nothing but positive things to say. That's very cool of you guys, and we're going to keep trying to do our best. And with all this news, it's going to be a huge undertaking, but we're going to keep trying to get everything done week to week. But yes, I am wrapping this episode up. This has been episode 13. See you next week for episode 14. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. That is it. Goodbye.
Feel
Later.
your animality. Your animality.
Your animality. Your animality.
Is it safe?
It's
It's
never
safe.
safe.
No, but
It's
you should
very
probably get
safe.
yourself checked.
Ha ha ha!